do right here is go back into time.
Yesterday on the Rich Eisen Show.
Brady may not be a scheme fit for the 49ers. I just said those words, and I did not say.
Can you elaborate?
There's a lot of gotta run and get out of the pocket, and I know that would be insulting to Tom at age 43, what he's going to be, and that he can do anything physically, significantly, and he can get himself in shape. I'm not saying he's not. But one thing he doesn't do is run like a deer out of that pocket.
Another Rich Eisen Show is coming at you right now. This is the Rich Eisen Show.
I appreciate the way you talk to us and not at us, as opposed to the most fabulous sports babe wannabes do these days.
Thanks, Brent.
Live in Los Angeles.
Hey, Rich. I've actually been listening to the podcast.
Download and podcast at richeisenshow.com.
Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show.
I don't know that the market is all that hot. I think there's a limited number of teams that are interested. The Patriots are interested in bringing him back. The Titans are interested, but they're also interested in their own quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
Today's guests, Boston columnist Tom Curran, NBA insider Brian Windhorst, plus Pat McAfee. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Okay, everybody, welcome to this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. We are live in Los Angeles, California, with a trio of guests, Tom Curran, Brian Windhorst, Pat McAfee. America's sweetheart will be joining us right there in the middle of the centerpiece of hour number 3. Good to see you, Christopher Brockman. How are you over there?
What's up, Rich? How you
Mike
doing,
Del Tufo, you're a post, okay. Rich Eisen Show social media grandmaster, TJ Jefferson is strolling on the Callaway corner right now. See, now that you're on YouTube, we're more social than ever before. So, TJ, you've got more of an expanded role here on this program. YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show is how you can watch us live as we are chatting with you right here on this radio network near you, and of course, Sirius XM radio throughout the entire planet. Basically, you can't quit us. Now then,
why would you want to?
We have heard from Tom Brady.
Indeed.
You know what's crazy in this world is that, and again, we're streaming live, or we have our live show on YouTube, so we can be gotten anywhere, and it doesn't matter where you speak anymore. It's heard. You know, it used to be, you think you speak to a local camera crew and you're just talking to just a small handful of people. Now you talk to somebody and it goes everywhere. Now, this wasn't a local camera crew. What is this, Dana White's podcast or something? And he FaceTimed Tom Brady into it? Is that what it was? And then he Instagram. So he's on a podcast and he FaceTimed on Instagram Live.
Right.
That's the connection here, right?
Yes. He just called Tom Brady.
Man, the whole, old school, you are there, news film era is over. You got a guy who's running an MMA league, right? UFC. He's got his own podcast. He's going out there and Instagram living a FaceTime. And that's how we're getting news on the biggest sports story of the month, if not the year. And by year, I mean this. I think Richard Deitch pointed this out from The Athletic. Biggest football game this fall. We don't know what it is yet. Okay? We're assuming when the Patriots play the Chiefs will have an opening night game in Kansas City, whether it's Thursday night or Sunday night, however they're going to handle it with the schedule. But the biggest game of the year would absolutely be Tom Brady versus the Patriots, wherever he winds up.
No question.
And I do believe pretty much the Chargers are in that mix, right? And the Raiders are in that mix. And I don't know if the Titans are in that mix for New England.
The Chiefs are in the mix. The Texans, obviously, he's not going to go there.
Right. You're just reading off their schedule now.
Yeah, the Rams, Bills, not going to go there, obviously. Dolphins, Jets, Broncos, probably not going to be there.
He's not going to the Broncos.
Raiders, Chargers, the only two teams that Tom could go to who play New England this year.
Raiders, Chargers versus New England will be the biggest game of the year. Hands down. Whole country would want to stop and see that one. Does he shake Belichick's hand afterwards? All that business.
Oh. Belichick versus Mangini Part 2.
Did you just compare Brady to the
I'm just saying in
Manginius?
terms of the handshake post-game.
Okay. So now, then, here we go. Tom Brady on Dana White's podcast yesterday.
Let me make my last pitch. Las Vegas would love to have you here at the Raiders. The stadium, the facility is incredible. The training facility that they have outside of Vegas is unbelievable. It's a 45-minute flight from LA. Your kids and your family could live there. You can fly back and forth. We want you to come to the Raiders. You know I've been pitching you now for a month. I love you too. Come on, brother. Get to Vegas.
Thanks, man. I know it's been a lot of patience for me. And obviously being where I've been for 20 years, it's been an amazing experience. And I don't know what the future holds right now. I'm just trying to be patient through this process, my first time going through it. And in the meantime, I'm going to spend a lot of time with my family over the next 10, 12 days. And we got a little vacation plan, which I'm looking forward to.
Breaking news. Susie and I are going on vacation with Tom and Giselle. Wait a minute.
I want that to be true. So
No,
badly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's with our 3 small children. So thus, it won't be vacation. It's called a trip. By the way, welcome to parenthood.
Can't wait.
Your vacations are over. You're going to take tons of trips, man.
Lots of trips, no
Lots
vacations.
of trips.
All right.
Lots of trips with you, Cage, and Sarah.
Yep.
The vacations with you and Sarah, history. Over. So, what are we reading into this? That he is going to trust the process and perhaps do a 180 on his entire career? We'll hit on that in the latest Jeopardy moment that happened from the world of sports and game showing yesterday. But we're learning that he doesn't know anything yet. So we're learning nothing. But he spoke. So that's all we know about. He's going to go through this process, folks, and Tom Curran is going to be joining us shortly here on this program to give us the latest. He was the one who reported that Brady and Belichick yesterday had a chat on Tuesday, and quote, unquote, it did not go well. It did not go well. Are you preparing for the worst?
I'm slowly wrapping my head around the possibility. I'm not in. I'm still in a little bit of denial of. I still think his best chance to win a Super Bowl is with the Patriots.
That is not true.
That's your opinion.
That is not true.
I still think that Bob Kraft isn't going to let him play somewhere else.
I think that's the wild card. RKK, as he's known in the business, certainly up there in New England by his initials. At some point, he's going to step in. He's trusting the process right now. And I'm sure he's been maybe picking up what's been put down, like let him go talk to other people. He's got 48 hours to technically, legally talk to other people from the 16th through the 18th in the new league year run up. Let him go do it. I think his best chance to win a Super Bowl is absolutely San Francisco. I would take San Francisco's roster over New England's right now. I wouldn't take the coach, obviously, over New England's right now, despite Kyle Shanahan's level of genius and wonderkind capabilities of predicting throughout the week, as George Kittle told us a few months ago when he came on the show, that there's twice or 3 times a week he predicts this play is going to be big or it's going to score, and then more often than not, Shanahan's right. We saw the footage of him telling a referee during the NFC Championship game caught by NFL Films cameras, watch this guy for Green Bay. He's going to hold on this play, and sure enough, he did. Out comes a holding flag. Shanahan's terrific. But Belichick's Belichick. That said, I would take, if I'm Tom Brady and I'm got 2 years to go and I want to win a championship, and part of me also wants to try something new, to go somewhere else and get a little bit of newfound love as opposed to the way that it's done for 20 years, San Francisco is the spot to force your way to. And if San Francisco's even interested, you got to check that out.
Does Tom strike you, though, as a Jimmy Butler situation to just force himself into a different spot?
He's got 2 years to go, right? Why shouldn't he be a bull in a china shop after 20 years of or I guess 15 years of doing the Patriot way, and then whatever was going on with Garoppolo and him based on reporting
that
has Garoppolo now in San Francisco? Why wouldn't he want to do for his last 2 years? Bull in the china shop. This is what I want. Make it happen. Don Yee, my agent, who's also Jimmy G's agent. Work your magic. Why not? And then if not, I do think the Raiders would be a next opportunity for him if the Raiders are technically interested in that. But I would go Chargers. Outside of that, you got Keenan Allen, you got Mike Williams, you got Austin Eckler, you've got on defense, terrific young defense. You got a head coach who's not going anywhere right now. Go for it. And then come out here and the Chargers, whatever Brady is worth in terms of dollars and cents to put him on the field, it's a multiplier by 10x here in Los Angeles. I'll say it once. I've said it once. I'll say it again. My children have not asked me a single thing about Los Angeles Chargers football since they moved from San Diego. And the minute Tom Brady comes here, they're all going to want to go to the games. Period. End of story. They're going to want a jersey, powder blue 12.
Baby.
They're going to want to walk around in it. They're going to hear about it at school, and they're going to tell all their friends, I've been loving Tom Brady way before you have. Thanks to Mom.
True.
And the bumper stickers we have on all our cars. Blah, blah, blah. So that's the way that one's going. Tom Curran's going to join us. Brian Windhorst is going to join us here in hour number 2. As we're going to go in this with our poll question. Based on last night, I mean, how great is it for the NBA that Dallas versus New Orleans is going to be must-see television for years to come?
Dude, for real.
Last night, this thing going right down to the wire. Zion, Luka, Porzingis, and, you know, we'll ask Brian Windhorst a poll question that we're asking to our radio, social media, and YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show audience. What do you have over there, Chris?
Yeah, who would you rather build your team around? Pretty simple, guys. Luka or Zion?
844-204-RICH, number to dial. You vote at Rich Eisen Show. You can also call us, 844-204-RICH, as I said. And then Pat McAfee, America's sweetheart, will be joining us.
Yeah, buddy.
So while that's an hour 3, while the NFL community waits on Tom Brady's decision, the same amount of time essentially is taken up by the waiting game with the players of the NFL, all of them receiving today the ballot to vote on the collective bargaining agreement that apparently, according to all reports, was hammered out final language, lawyers working to 2 a.m. Boy, the billable hours. Holy crap.
And the sandwiches at 12.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they get sandwiches brought in.
Is that right? Did you know that? Are you reporting some news? They got sandwiches brought in?
They always do. That's the way they work. When we're divorced.
Oh, is that right?
We get sandwiches.
Oh, you're talking about your divorce lawyers.
Exactly.
No, these are probably people you paid a little bit more than whatever Saul Goodman divorced you in New Jersey.
Nice.
Thank you.
Better call Saul.
Right. So when was the last time, and I'll ask this, I guess, of Pat, because I'm wondering how this is going to land in the inboxes of all the players in the NFL. The collective bargaining, they're probably going to send them some bullet points, like a PDF with bullet points, and then the PDF of the collective bargaining agreement, which, according to all reports, is 456 pages long. So when was the last time either of you guys read anything 456 pages long?
I was on a good book reading kick probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, but I always found myself reading about 2/3 of the books and then starting a new book. So I have like 8 books that I've only read 2/3 of.
There you go. And Mike, I'm assuming it's been a while since you've read something.
More than 3 pages.
Correct.
Rich. I mean,
there you go.
More than 400 words on your phone.
Imagine how this is going to land in the
140
in the inboxes of players. I mean, a legal document with all the fine print and what the formulas to figure out what the payment is here, and then whatever the payment is here is dependent upon whatever the formula for the salary cap is there, and the salary cap will be determined with this formula based on the television contracts that would either be this much or this much, depending on how much they can get out of CBS with Tony Romo having half of the company now. I made that last part up. That's probably not in the fine print. I couldn't even imagine how they're going to go about this. Do they send it to a lawyer friend of theirs, say, read it and just, and
tell me how to vote?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And they've got a week to figure this out. In 1 week, March 13th, apparently, is when all the votes come back in electronically, and we'll see if, I'll wake up from my nap. If I see a suitcase of money on the table, I'll know I have a partner. If not, I'll know I won't. That's the Hyman Roth way of describing how this is all going to go down.
For real.
And if there is a deal, then obviously the new league year will open up in a different manner next Wednesday. And if not, it'll be totally different rules than the way the last 9 new league years are, because in the last league year of a collective bargaining agreement, there's different rules. And then we'll go into the 2020 season on the edge. Pat McAfee will join us on this subject, Brady, and so much more. And then he'll welcome us to YouTube. I mean, he's going to he's done his show on YouTube for a few months now. And he's going to kind of tell us, it looks like, are we free of all the bots that...
Well,
that
Rich, I mean, you better
our...
knock on whatever wood you have nearby. So far, we're in a bot-free zone on the chat.
Bot-free zone.
What's up, chat? How you guys doing?
Okay. Is that a new fantasy name? Right? Okay. Don Boyer, according to producers, just said we just talked about a perfect game in the first inning. So on this show, Tom Curran will join us to talk about Tom Brady in a second. Brian Windhorst will join us in the NBA front. Oh gosh, there's a Dolan wormhole opportunity again.
3 days in a row.
It's unbelievable. This guy can't get out of his own way and can't have his people help him help the Knicks and the fans. It's crazy. There's a certain psychosis going on here. And Pat McAfee will join us. Also, a fantastic sports question fail, or sports answer to a question in the form of an answer fail on Jeopardy last night. That's going to cause us to have a little bit of fun by giving you whether we should turn a 180 or trust the process.
Love it.
Okay. Joel Embiid, his Twitter feed was terrific. Ours at Rich Eisen Show. That's our Twitter feed, our Instagram feed, our Facebook feed. And that's also the spot after the slash of youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show is how you can watch what you're listening to right now. We're in a multiple window world. Why not open that window right now? youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH, number to dial to chat with us. Why not? Call us. We'll take your calls. Tom Curran will take his call next on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the Honda CR-V, people. Seating for five. So that's a perfect fit for my family.
That's you. You
Seating
got
for
five.
Now you've got four.
I've got four, including Maverick.
That's what Maverick is your child with four legs, dude.
He's a part of the family.
Damn straight he is.
He's feeling left out right now.
Well, I'm sure he's further down the photo list on your camera right now.
Yeah,
but it's all good. It's all good. So seating for five gives you more room for friends. There's a standard 60-40 split second row if you need extra cargo space. The available hands-free access power tailgate, spacious cargo area, easy access right there. Perfect for game days, road trips, night out on the town. Drive around worry-free thanks to Standard, also available Honda Sensing, suite of safety and driver assistive features like lane keeping assist system, letting you know when to brake, etc. So go to your local Honda dealer and tell them I sent you. That's Rich Eisen. At Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Hey everybody! Hi, we're on YouTube. So what do you? So is this? What do you? So what do you have here, TJ? You take it to sit down, TJ. TJ Jefferson. I mean, you know what? It's crazy. The YouTube world is opening things up for TJ on our program.
That's true.
Right?
A whole new audience.
A whole new audience for TJ. And it's crazy that your audience, you're speaking to YouTube, but I'm speaking to Instagram in your hand. It's just kind of like a strange thing going on.
Someone said it was like Inception going on right now.
Inception going on right now. Okay, so we're improving every day. I'm going to start putting a little bit of powder on the dome tomorrow. Brockman, more you can do, you're going to fix the camera here, right? Look at Brockman fixing cameras. Going to zoom in and give us a single shot of TJ Jefferson.
This is kind of funky, man.
And
I'm feeling like Guy Pearce right now.
Your camera's live.
We are
Chris.
Live.
I mean,
look at your stuff here. TJ's tall. No, don't slouch. Don't slouch.
Yeah, get my full 6'3" in this.
There you go.
You know.
And so we're learning every day. You're getting more exposure thanks to our YouTube feed.
Yeah, I wanted it. But...
And Chris, let me ask you this question, and let's be honest here.
Okay.
Have you been more efficient
in the last few days
on this show, and more initiative-driven and interactive with the making of this show because you have more time because you're feeding your baby in the middle of the night? Is the birth of your child making you more efficient as a working member of the Rich Eisen Show?
I was doing emails at 3:45
I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
He's up at 4 a.m.
It seems like, yeah, you're liking Instagram photographs in the middle of the night, and like you got nothing going on other than your baby, and he's there maybe in your hand while you're going into the rundown. The night you sent a text to him in the rundown night before. That's been like 3 years since I've received a text like that from you. I'm being honest.
You know, he used to leave the show, and I'd be like, all right, Chris, what are you going to do after the show? I got to go take a nap. I'm like, bro, why are you taking a nap? And now he goes home and he has to play with the baby.
I don't have to. I want to.
You want to. Yeah.
Thank
true.
you.
Yeah.
By the way,
Good answer.
you do want to.
Of course.
I know.
Somebody just said he's not feeding the baby.
I am feeding the baby.
Exactly. You're just not feeding. I mean,
I'm not. He's not.
yeah.
Latching is the word.
Exactly.
Is the buzzword. It's latching.
Yeah.
People.
Thank
It's
you.
latching.
Somebody's telling me to wear a cap. I'm not wearing a cap. I'm not going to wear a cap. I'm not doing that. It's just, again, when you're transitioning, like we have on this show,
yes,
from last week to this week, and we're going to continue to transition and hopefully get bigger. And I keep telling you that news is coming. I promise you, one way or another, it is. So that when you're working at the combine, I'm not thinking, what makeup do I have for next week? You kind of left me a little bit on that. So I'm not wearing a cap. Okay. Dion wants me to get the new hair, actually.
Which I got a hat with a hole in it.
Yeah, I'm going to powder the dome. Yeah,
we got it.
Rich, can I tell you about the hair thing? I had a dream once. I don't know why I'm dreaming about work. I think I told Brockman this. We're in here, and you came walking in with a full head of lettuce, and it stunned the world. It stunned us all.
Now, you're dreaming about me getting new hair?
It was weird. Pause.
Is there something that we need to talk about?
No, pause. I know it was weird, but, I'm just be honest. It was. Okay. I have many dreams, and that was one of them. And we were all. I remember Brockman and I were like, "Yo, look at this guy."
All right, this is fun.
I'm saying it would look good.
This is fun conversation. Tom Curran.
Man, the chat is just fire right now.
We're gonna get Tom on the horn here, right? He's supposed to be calling in shortly.
Go.
There we go. We're gonna get him up here.
Yeah, we're good. Adam's trying him in the back.
All right, very good.
Shout out to Adam.
Tom Curran's about to join us. Brian Windhorst, Pat McAfee as well. That's a nice picture, Tom. Look at that. He's showing off
blue
a little
steel
bit
right
like
there.
The blue steel of Tom Curran. Tommy. Okay. He's going to be next on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Tom Curran about to join us here on the program. Michael Irvin's birthday is today.
No way.
Yeah, lock of the week, Michael Irvin.
Do you know Irv's age off the top of your head?
I'm going to say Michael Irvin today is the speed limit.
Close, one shy, 54.
54 years old. Dude,
as old as me.
Dude.
He could still play.
Dude.
He could actually play.
I'm telling you, at the combine this week, where everybody's bigger, stronger, faster every year. And then I see Randy Moss's kid is there.
Yeah.
Antoine Winfield's kid is there. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm an old man. I'm getting older. Getting up there. But like another Michigan man, aging like a fine wine. As a 50-year-old running a 5.98.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
All right, joining us right here on the Rich Eisen Show from NBC Sports Boston. He's our resident go-to guy. He's Tommy Curran. How are you, Tom?
Was it a 5.98? I mean, everyone knows you run, and we appreciate that. But
Yes.
I think sometimes we lose track of the number.
Yes, it was 5.98.
That's at least a half-second improvement from the initial run, right?
I will tell you this, Tom. I was timed based on good fortune by three individuals. Jerry Rice, who was there on behalf of Run Rich Run, running against a philanthropist businessman named Mark Laurie. And because Mark beat Jerry, Michael Rubin gave $250,000 to the charity. Unbelievable. Two, George Kittle, out of the goodness of his heart, took some of his time and came in. And then Vaughn, an 8-year-old boy from St. Jude, who I think started his stopwatch the minute I walked up to the line, because his time was more like a gymnastic score than anything else, like 9.5. So we took George's time, which may have been very, very friendly. I don't know, but I'll take it. 598.
Yeah, there's no reason to do what you just did at all. I have no idea why. I mean, I don't. What would you do that for?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's at least. I mean, we raised a ton of money, Tom. A lot of guys helped, but yeah, 598.
Yes, that's
Can you
true.
believe it?
I know. Thanks for doing it, Tom. I appreciate it. Hey, look, what happened with Brady and Belichick this week? Walk me through your reporting, if you don't mind, sir.
Sure. Excuse me. They spoke. There seems to be some discrepancy between myself and Adam Schefter as to which day that happened, but that's less important than the fact that they did speak. And it wasn't a productive conversation, as it was termed to me. Bill acted as if Tom was still under contract to the team, which technically he is, but this notion of business as usual and not treating it any differently is a bad idea.
What do you
juncture with Brady?
What do you mean by that? Business as usual, like that? Hey, we've done this for 20 years. We're going to keep doing it my way. Is that the way? I'm trying to read it. Read in there.
I am too, because again, I'm marrying it with Adam's tweet on the topic, which I'm sure was. So it certainly came after ours, and I'm sure it was in response to, and coming from a different side of the operation. So business as usual. If the Patriots are of a mind that that's a great way to operate right now, I think they're missing the point. Business as usual after 20 years, when the guy has been irritated about his contract and looking for a new one since 2017 and requested his free agent status last August because he was kind of fed up. If you're going to present business as usual to him, he's going to walk out of that meeting or hang up that phone and say, yeah, well, they still really don't understand where I'm at with this.
So what does... Let's get right into this here. Is Tom pissed? Is Tom pissed at the Patriots? Is he pissed? Is that? I mean, that's
ongoing agitation. Just ongoing agitation.
Well, what's the agitation about? What is he agitated about? Like, what would be the source of it?
That's a great question. It's funny because someone said, Dale Arnold said on the radio the other day, I still don't understand what Tom's motivation is here. Is it money? Is it? And I said, Dale, if you don't know what his motivation is, we've done a terrible job. Tom Brady feels as if he's a stopgap. Tom Brady feels as if he's been trying to be replaced since 2014 when they drafted Garoppolo. He beat that challenge back. He wanted a contract that took him through his stated desire to play until at least 43, and the Patriots resisted that. They gave him a contract with incentives he had no shot at reaching. He failed to reach all of them. This past year, he was expecting a 2-year, $25 million a year deal, similar to Drew Brees. He didn't get that. And after that, he said, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. It's too long. You've been trying to replace me. You have been screwed around on the contract. I don't have people to throw to. Gronk got screwed around. We went through hoops left and right to see what my availability for my trainer is going to be. Enough. I'd like to be a free agent at the end of the year, and then we can decide whether we want to continue the marriage, because clearly you're not convinced that you want to. And the Patriots like, yeah, let's go year to year. We all agree that's a great idea. No, they didn't. Brady didn't want to go year to year. He wanted to be guaranteed that he could stay here. That's why we are where we are. That's why there's agitation and irritation. And he knows that Bill's not going to pay him $27, $28, $29 million and carry a cap hit along with it. It's not going to happen. That's why the house went on the market. That's why the family's moved to New York. That's why he's divested himself of, regular, on-the-clock, scheduled best buddies involvement this summer. That's why any number of things have happened. That's why it's out there that he is on the cusp of leaving. He's going to listen to them. He wants to listen to them. He wants to do them that solid because he believes that's what it's about. I had a quote earlier this year. It's just not who he is. He's got an attachment here. And the Patriots want to keep him around, but they're not entering the foray to keep him around, at least so far. And again, it's March 5th, not March 15th. But they didn't enter into it with frothing at the mouth about keeping him.
Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston, Patriots insider, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the Robert Kraft of it all. When does he step in and make a pitch, make a play, make a stop, make a save, however you want to put it?
Great.
What do you think?
Great question. Robert Kraft can only go so far. He can't take them together and, like a couple of kids, get in a squabble in the playground, make them shake hands and be friends. If there is a gap to be bridged, my understanding is I've been told that Robert Kraft will do that. And I've written that. The Patriots will extend themselves to get it done. But if it's not a gap but a chasm, there's really very little he can do. So if Tom's intimations that, look, I'm looking all over the place, and that all the intimations are accurate, that all these places are interested, which I do know they are correct, and the Patriots are selling out, and Bill's like, look, if he wants to go someplace else, Robert, we got to do what we got to do. We got to do what has gotten us here in terms of value, in terms of understanding what the economics of it are, in terms of this being a 43-year-old. Now he wants to go 2 years when we've been year to year every other year. Does that make sense to you? Then Robert Kraft is going to say, look, I did everything I could. And that's one interesting thing to keep in mind, Rich. In 2013, they signed him to a 6-year, $60 million extension. Kind of reasonable at the time. And Kraft told Peter King, I wanted to do something elegant. I thought like a fan with this because I never wanted to see Tom play someplace else. In Robert's mind, he feels he's already done everything he could do to make sure Tom Brady retired a Patriot. He didn't only do that contract; he gave him another extension. No, he did not. But they've given him the raise this past year. But he feels rightly that, look, if this guy's going to play until 43, he's in uncharted territory, and there's a point at which we have to say, we tried to make it happen this way, but it's gotten too untenable to make it happen without mortgaging our future.
Okay. Tom Curran here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the possibilities of where he might land. What are Tom's criteria as to where he might land based on what you understand, Tom?
Sense of comfort, sense of ability that he's going to win. He's going to be in a situation where the team is championship competitive, and he likes the place where it is. I think there's probably, with some teams, a disconnect between, and I trust implicitly Jeff Darlington's reporting on this, because he's not only talked to sides involved, the principals, he also noted that he's spoken to 8 executives from different teams about their interest and levels of interest that it exists. But there's a gap between the places Tom would like to go and the way that list looks and the way the teams who would be interested in him shake out. And I think that's interesting. For instance, I mentioned earlier this week the 49ers. I believe that would be Tom Brady's number one destination. They have so much to work through. Do you walk the plank with Jimmy because you feel as if he's good, but he's not great? There's things we could do better. He's got a favorable contract, though. And if you bring in Tom Brady at 43, just so that maybe you can get Kirk Cousins down the road, which is what Kyle Shanahan, as we all understand, has always wanted, that's a big gamble. Meanwhile, I don't know if Jimmy even lands back out here if he's a free agent because he's been released. But that's another story. So the Niners would be number one. Then I think Tennessee. I think the Patriots fit in there somewhere. And then you have a collection of teams who will be interested in Brady, who it would take some convincing to get him there. That would be the Colts, which I'm hearing exist, even though we've been told that they do not. The Raiders, the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Bucs would fall into that next tier of teams. And I think with the Bucs, with all of these teams, with the Raiders, the Colts, and certainly the 49ers, all of them need to have plausible deniability in case they don't get Brady, that they were never really interested in the first place, because they have quarterbacks on the roster.
Right. So they can basically say, let's just go as planned here when Tom chooses somewhere else. That's why everybody's not really declaring their hand. And as you point out, we're about 10 days from this thing truly heating up, or maybe even later than that. Tom Curran here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's game out the 49ers thing for a second. Because, I don't think they'd release Jimmy. I mean, they'd trade him. And obviously teams would know that he would be on the block. And they could kind of, before pulling the trigger on Brady, make that deal They have the same agent. Garoppolo does have 3 years of relative affordability right there in the mid-20s, and it doesn't cost much on the cap for and change to trade him. So it is all feasible. The question is, what would the Patriots want him back? Would they take him back? Is that something like Dion, when he was on NFL Network on Sunday and posited the same thing about the 49ers being the favorite and the best spot for him to go, doing a basketball sign and trade, essentially, and reversing the polarity on the deal that sent so much in motion leading to this point, right? So what do you think?
That. Reversing the polarity, I like that.
Yeah. Go. Feel free to use it, Tom. Go for it.
Sure. The timeline for me on this was, Dion saying that, and then Florio saying that, and I texted back and forth with Mike, and he mentions, the 49ers are real. So I was on with Adam Shine, and I mentioned 100. He asked me, where do you think Brady ends up? I said 50% New England, 50% Tennessee. Okay, there's your 100. For the hell of it, I threw out the Niners coming up hard on the outside. I was half joking. After saying that, I got at least a half dozen different people in the league, in the media, around it saying, do not back off of that. That's real. All I can establish, though, from myself and not secondhand media folk or people within the league is, one, that Tom Brady wants to go there, and two, that it is factual that there are limitations that Kyle Shanahan believes there exist in Jimmy Garoppolo's game. Does he hate him? No. Does he think he can win with him? They just did. Would he entertain the idea of Brady? Would John Lynch? I don't know. I'm led to believe by people that will be the case. And so that's where the Niners come in.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is just totally crazy talk. So game it out for me last few minutes with Tom Curran here on the Rich Eisen Show. Timeline it for me. How does this go down, do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I found it interesting that in talking to Dana White yesterday, Brady mentioned, excuse me, that he would be leaving town with his family. I'm going to do a throat clear. You're getting in your 50s when you're starting to do that shit.
Go for it, Tom. Right.
Nice. Yeah, just latent phlegm for the audience, Rich. He said he was going to leave the area with his family, which on one hand, yeah, it's 2020. You can do it remotely. On the other, doesn't he want to sit with people?
Yeah.
I reported last month that the chance existed that he would be stationed in one place and people would come to Muhammad,
like Durant out there in the Hamptons.
Exactly right. Which Brady was a part of pitching as well.
That's
so maybe
right.
He thought that was a good idea. But if he's going to be out of town, it's going to be tough to do. Secondarily, and I haven't really reported this, and because I'm not locked on it. I've been told this. Probably isn't going to take a long time. This isn't going to be a week-long process. It's going to be quick. So we'll see how that goes. To me, that means he has a smaller wish list for destinations than the 8 teams. There might be teams interested, but he might say, yeah, that's not realistic for me.
But the Patriots at some point, I mean, Robert Kraft isn't just going to sit around and just watch this go down. And
you're exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like at some point, the rumors are going to go flying and or weird stuff that's actually real. There's going to be a fire. We might just be smelling the smoke. And he's going to step in and basically say, we got to do this. You have to do it. We have to do it. And then have to figure out a way just to, as you said, comfort level is his number one. When I asked you what his number one criteria is, you said comfort level. Whatever discomfort that might be going on for him to stay there based on he doesn't feel heard or he doesn't feel like he's been respected on the lifestyle that he requires within the building, to use the phrase, or say so that he thinks he has earned after 20 years. How do we bridge that? How does that get bridged?
That's a great question, because you're right. Robert is not going to stand there and say, geez, I don't know what Bill did. I don't know if he talked to him, didn't talk to him. I don't know how these phone calls went. when Tom Brady leaves, if he does leave and goes to free agency, the optics, and I do hate the word optics, the optics will be horrible if the Patriots can't say we did this, this, and this. We made a legitimate effort, and we leave on good terms. They have to make that happen. So that, I think, would be the area in which Robert would step in. The idea of financial step in, I don't think is going to exist. I would imagine it's more along, look, Tom, we both know how Bill is. He's not going to do all the things that are going to make you feel warm. You want to hear him again from me? Of course I love you. And that's where it's interesting, too, Rich, is that Tom Brady's discontent is not just limited to Bill. He understands that over the course of his career, he's negotiated more contracts with Robert Kraft than he has with Bill Belichick. So when he looks at his contract and says, why don't I have a new one? He's not just looking at Bill.
He's looking at Robert.
He's looking at both.
Yep.
And Bill is being deferred to by Robert, which is fine. He's an employee. He's supposed to run the team. But that's what that's the best summation I can give you right now. So Robert stepping in will be a stepping in to make sure that everything was done and love was expressed, and go fly. If you love somebody, set them free will happen, but he will not want it to be contentious and ugly.
Last one for you, Tom. What did you make of Antonio Brown saying Brady's told him, you're coming with me wherever I go? What did you make of that one?
100%. 100% accurate. Now,
it is.
Brady might be saying that to him because he likes him a lot and feels he was done wrong here in New England and wants to see him succeed, and looks at what's happened since football was taken away and says, see, if you do that to somebody, this is what happens. But I don't think that Brady would hold his breath and say, this has to happen here. But I do know that Brady has maintained contact and support with Antonio Brown throughout.
Huh. So you could scratch Raiders off the list if that's his opening demand.
If it's contingent, if it's contingent upon Antonio Brown joining the team or an assurance that we'll look at Antonio if he's reinstated, then I would say scratch one Raiders.
Tom, you're the best, man. Great chat. We're going to reach out to you again. This thing's only going to get hotter. Appreciate the time. Look for
I need to lube up my throat better.
You know what? Lozenge next time. If you want, we'll send you. That's going to be part of our new merchandising. Rich Eisen Show lozenges. We'll send you a few pack. Okay.
I love that.
I'll see you, buddy.
Take care. We got a harumph out of Tom Curran at Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Have a great day.
Tom E. Curran on Twitter. There you go. Let me just tell you this. My first blush thought here. That Kraft needs to make sure that Tom doesn't leave on bad terms. I will say this. He'll try his best. If it ends in ugly divorce, there's been no uglier divorce in my tenure covering the NFL than Brett Favre with the Packers. And Brett Favre, as we currently sit here right now, is all Hakuna Matata with the Green Bay Packers. And when it left...
Took a while, though.
It did take a while. But in the long run, that was the messiest divorce ever. The messiest. I guess you could technically throw Antonio Brown with the Raiders in there, but Antonio Brown with the Raiders, or even with the Steelers, wasn't as long and didn't stand for as much as Brett Favre did with Green Bay and for the fan base. That's the only comparison. Didn't end any uglier than Green Bay and Favre, and they're all cool together right now. So, okay, your phone calls at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. That's next here on the Rich Eisen Show. Don't go anywhere. All right. Greg Kinnear was on this show. Let me get the date. Oh, it's not too long ago.
Not too long ago at all.
August 5th.
Yeah.
When my son's birthday. My son turned 9. We were hanging out with Greg Kinnear, who was here talking about the new Brian Banks movie.
Yeah.
But we played Celebrity True or False with him. Here's that moment. We have something called Celebrity True or False, if you wouldn't mind letting us know if some of these things are true or false. Roll the drop, please.
Celebrity True or False.
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, so the movie title True or False, As Good as It Gets, was originally called Old Friends. Is that a true story? Is that a true story?
That is true.
That is
Rich.
Celebrity True? That is Celebrity True or False?
It was called Old Friends. In fact, I passed out on that as gifts, little frames of my dog Verdell, 6 little Verdells, darling little dogs.
Yes.
When they're not crapping in your trailer.
Right.
And it said Old Friends on it. So that's a collector's item right there before we switch the name.
I think we've got a photograph up there, right there. Okay. Next one. When Sidney Pollack called you to cast you in Sabrina, you thought it was a prank call. Is that a true story?
Kind of not. I think that's kind of been slightly.
Okay, so that is now Celebrity False.
That is Celebrity False.
But that must have been.
I mean, I didn't think it was a prank call. It wasn't like, oh, you're not Sidney Pollack. Stop it. I mean, I did get a call from my agent saying, Sidney wanted to meet with me, and I was deeply surprised, but I didn't think my agent was messing with me.
An all-time great, Sidney Pollack. I mean,
one of the greats, absolutely.
I mean, pretty much every movie, even him acting in every single, he's amazing.
Every performance he is in is spot on. My favorite being Tootsie, where he plays Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
You're a tomato, the agent.
Well, also in Michael Clayton, which I think might have been his last acting role.
Right.
He was amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
In that,
he was, and a great guy for me to start off with, because that was the first movie I did, and to have a guy there that, of course, I admired him as a director, but to have somebody there who was as good an actor as he was super cool.
Spent 7 years living in Greece as a teenager. Is that a true story?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I went to high school. I graduated high school there. My dad was with the American Embassy when I was a kid. We were actually in Beirut, Lebanon, and the war got evacuated from Beirut to Athens, Greece, and my dad got reassigned to the embassy there and was there for actually 6 years, not 7.
No kidding. Yeah. So are you fluent in Greek? Are you? Was that, what did you just say?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. No, I said I speak a little Greek, but
okay.
My wife and I took our kids over there a few years ago, and I definitely got yelled at by a few people when I was in, trying to overextend my command of the language, but I could get around.
Well, if it doesn't, if it has nothing to do with Giannis these days, sport, Antetokounmpo, we have no idea as a sports about whether you were talking Greek or not, unless we don't hear that name. Can you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't even know right now what I'm talking about.
What do you mean?
Giannis, the NBA player.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, Giannis, that's John, as you know. Giannis is John, just so you know.
Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah, Giannis. Yorgos is George. Giannis is John.
So he's John Antetokounmpo?
That's right. That's right.
I had no idea. So
I don't think you're telling the truth.
I swear I am. Yeah, for sure. Giannis, absolutely.
So should I just call him Johnny A from now on?
From now on, you can.
Johnny A, my guy from the Bucks, Johnny A.
I'm like a Wikipedia page for you.
You
man.
are right now.
I mean, how have you guys survived on this show all these years without me?
Wow.
All right, welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back. Let's take some phone calls. Everybody, Al in Dallas. How you been, Al? What's going on, Al?
Richard, welcome back to the video portion of your program. Good to see you.
It's good to be seen. We're here, brother. We're not going anywhere. What's going on in your head?
Not much. I sent Brockman my blue version of my Spike Lee situation this morning from another venue.
Okay.
I'll give you the PG rated version of how James Dolan is how I like to call born on third base, acts like he hit a triple.
Right.
It's absurd. The man is. We've beat it to death. It's absurd. He's got to go. He puts some poor guy who's a working man in the middle of a big boy conversation. We all know that that's not the right thing to do. So,
of course not.
I'm not the biggest Spike Lee fan in the world, but he's right, and we're all been bantering around the fact that James Dolan's got to go. Now, your take on Tom Brady, I sensed like a little Larry David style jet. Hey, I hope Tom goes to the Niners or Chargers, and you're chalking it up as I could buy the Chargers jersey for my kids. I mean, is there a little jet fandom in
there is 0 point full Blutarski, and I appreciate you, Al, trying to sniff that out. This has nothing to do, because I don't think the Jets are remotely close enough to battle New England with Brady anyway. It's not as if Brady leaving would give the Jets a better shot. Because it would give the Bills a better shot, but not the Jets. The Jets are not close enough. That has nothing to do with it. I'm legitimately looking over the steering wheel. Where can he go where he knows his skills would be in the hands of a master tactician, an X and O's man, and a roster that's filled with weapons, including a security blanket like Gronk-like at tight end, a running game to support him, and a defense that is dominant. Like, where else can he go? I mean, that's a better situation than New England. It really is.
No. Can I just make one other point? Breakups, and we've talked about I've been calling this show for so long. We've talked about this before. Breakups in the NFL are not good. Joe Montana with the Niners, Emmitt Smith with the Cowboys. You just name them. When players at the trail ends of their career, football is the most cruel sport in the world. They have zero tolerance or patience for you when you're done. I think the Patriots have done everything they possibly can for Tom Brady. He's outlived his, at 42 years old. You can't run the risk of doing it. I think it's time for Belichick and Brady to peace out with one another and see what these guys could do solo.
Thanks for the call, Al. You take care of yourself. Again, it sure sounds like piecing it together from what I hear, from what Curran's saying, that after 20 years, I'm not a 23-year-old anymore. I'm not a 33-year-old anymore. I'm a 43-year-old man. Bill has his way of doing things that Tom apparently is chafing at. After 20 years, may want just a different spot, a new relationship where he feels like he's being welcomed because of what he's done, not like, the Patriot way. And it's fine that Belichick handles his business the way that he does. He's quite good at it. And that Brady wants to have his business handled the way that he does because he's quite good at it. And the two of them together have had the most successful coach-player winning relationship ever. No one will ever touch it. I mean, the only people that have a shot at touching it right now is Mahomes and Andy Reid, and they just got there first. And Andy's a 62-year-old man. The only relationship currently in the NFL that could come close to it, where the coach isn't going to go anywhere as long as he wants to stay, and the player's not going to go anywhere and has the ability to win multiple championships, that's already got one on the board. It just has been amazing. We shall see how it works out. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We turn our page to the NBA and the most amazing Jeopardy sports answer in the form of a question non-fail that complete fail that we've heard in a while. You call us again at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Your phone calls, Brian Windhorst of ESPN to give us his thoughts on the NBA front, and youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show to watch us during commercial breaks, and then on the other side. My mic? Okay, here we go. All right, I want to show everybody something. So Dallas Hitchcock is a tremendous
one of the best
feature producer.
One of the best
in the business.
Absolutely.
Okay, at NFL Network and his crew. When it was, he heard a rumor that George Kittle was coming to be part of Run Rich Run. Now, again, George was on our show back in
fall, maybe.
And he's like, he wanted to run against me. Didn't he suggest he wanted to run against me? And I'm that ain't happening. It's not happening. It's just not happening. Just like, look, I know my limitations. I don't need to know that I don't need to race in real time against George Kittle. I know I'm going to be simulcammed against much larger individuals, much younger than George, and it's not going to look good for me.
George ran a 4.52.
And at one point when he did show up, I did say 4.53 to him, and he goes 4.52. I'm like, okay.
He knows. These guys know.
So Dallas and the crew, and I'm sorry if there was somebody else on Dallas's crew who came up with the idea, but he's like, okay, George is in it. He calls me up. He goes, George is a big wrestling guy. How about we create a belt, a Run Rich Run belt, and he comes out. He's your hype man.
Dude, it's awesome.
And then we have the 8-year-old Vaughn hold up the belt.
Love it.
In. So.
Belt is so sick.
Here's the belt. You see, it says that's my best time ever.
Yep.
Okay. And then the Combine logo's on it, 15 years, because that's how long I've been doing it. And then the Combine logo's here. Now, you could see, because you could see the reflection of my papers on the desk. That's Jerry Rice. You see Jerry's signature right there?
Yeah, he's on the left side of the belt.
Right, now that's Kittle's. You see Dion's right in the middle of the Run Rich Run logo. That's mine on the right with 5.98 my time. And then you see Vaughn's squiggle at the top.
Nice. Love it.
Okay, there's Vaughn's squiggle right over there. NFLauction.com.
Sweet.
The belt goes up for auction. I think it's going to run through the draft. You can get the belt. And Run Rich Run, okay, has been is off the charts right now. I'll make an announcement. I don't want to do it yet because Michael Rubin's money most of it's been added, but there's going to be a little bit more added shortly. So
he's scratching a big check.
We're getting up there. He's scratching a check, man.
Mark Laurie beat Jerry Rice.
But Mark Laurie scratched checks, and his buddies have done that too.
That's awesome. So cool, man.
One guy who's apparently he hasn't been named. He wants to be anonymous. He donated $10,000, and then when Mark beat Jerry, went up, added a 0 at the end.
Whoa!
Threw in 90 more. Mark's got some very generous friends.
Still can't believe that Mark beat Jerry Rice.
Well, Mark, the video's out on BR Gridiron.
I just saw it. Yeah.
Mark showed up in a unitard.
He was looking pretty yoked.
When a man shows up in a unitard to run. Now, everybody says, "What if I don't run in a suit? Why don't I run in like combine clothes?"
But then it's not.
Could you imagine if I showed up in a unitard?
I don't want to think about it.
You know what?
Don't want to think about it.
That's something.
Amazing,
By the way, everybody, I apologize. I think Susie just drove off the road right now.
Put that image in all of our heads.
Have you? What onesie does Cage have?
We've got so many. A lot of friends have been donating a lot of their old boys' clothes to us. So we have a lot of those.
I have some Yankee onesies.
I don't want those.
Come on now.
Those will go right in the fireplace.
Why would you fireplace? That's terrible.
Does it have a 2 on the back, Rich?
Wow.
Well, no, 2 actually is on the butt. Because that's where it comes out of, everybody.
Now.
In copious colors and amounts. The amazing Technicolor poop coat of Cage Anthony Brockman. All right, we're going to, if you will take stuff down, and then we're back up. That's how we're rolling. We're down on YouTube for the moment. You're playing that music to come back to the radio network.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And we're going to come back up. What about a minute? Is that what we got?
Yeah, like 20 seconds.
All right. I got to be quiet now. We're back in a minute.
What we're gonna do right here is go back into time.
Yesterday on the Rich Eisen Show.
Brady may not be a scheme fit for the 49ers. I just said those words, and I did not say.
Can you elaborate?
There's a lot of gotta run and get out of the pocket, and I know that would be insulting to Tom at age 43, what he's going to be, and that he can do anything physically, significantly, and he can get himself in shape. I'm not saying he's not, but one thing he doesn't do is run like a deer out of that pocket.
Another Rich Eisen Show is coming at you right now. This is the Rich Eisen Show.
I appreciate the way you talk to us and not at us, as opposed to the most fabulous sports babe wannabes do these days.
Thanks, Brent.
Live in Los Angeles.
Hey, Rich. I've actually been listening to the podcast.
Download and podcast at richeisenshow.com.
Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show.
I don't know that the market is all that hot. I think there's a limited number of teams that are interested. The Patriots are interested in bringing him back. The Titans are interested, but they're also interested in their own quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
Earlier on the show, Boston columnist Tom Curran. Still to come, NBA insider Brian Windhorst. Plus, Pat McAfee. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Hey, everybody. Hour number 2 of the Rich Eisen Show right here on your radio network and on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show is how you could stream with us. Anybody who's watching us or listening us at Rich Eisen Show is our Twitter account, and also 844-204-RICH number to dial. We just had Tom Curran on in hour number 1, and he's from NBC Sports Boston, and basically said that he thinks it's 50-50 Brady to the Patriots or did you say Chargers? Is that
Titans.
Titans. Yeah. Okay.
49ers are closing on the outside.
And he says whenever he mentions that, he gets texts from people from the league saying, don't give up on that. Because I don't think if I had to guess, Tom Brady is behind the scenes saying, that's where I want to go. That's what I want. I want to go home and play for the team that I always wanted to play for. I want to put on the 49er uniform like I dreamt for my entire life. They are as good as anybody in the league right now. They've got a great head coach who is just as smart as McDaniels, with all due respect. And I have weapons on offense, and I've got a defense that is championship quality, and a running game that will keep me protected, and an offensive line that is a little banged up and needs to be retooled, but that you could say that about pretty much any offensive line in the business. The 49ers make total sense, except for the fact, as I could see on our YouTube chat down the bottom on the right side of our stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, and on our Twitter feed at Rich Eisen Show, and folks calling up to 844-204-RICH. A lot of 49er fans are like, stay the course with Jimmy G. And we might hear that sentiment coming up shortly based on a particular exchange on Jeopardy last night, believe it or not. But there is some breaking news that's coming out of New York City from media writer Andrew Marchand, who knows a ton in this business. And he writes for the New York Post. He's the one who broke the Romo news.
Yes.
Okay? And he was spot on right there. And he is reporting right now that ESPN is trying to get their dream Monday Night Football booth. The analyst would be Peyton Manning, and the play-by-play man would be somebody who was traded from Disney to Comcast years ago to NBC in a trade that included rights for Olympics footage on SportsCenter and the famed Oswald the Rabbit, which was a cartoon character that predated Mickey Mouse that NBC suddenly, for some reason, had the rights to and the Disney family wanted back. Al Michaels is being mentioned by Andrew Marchand as trying to get NBC to trade them Al Michaels. Obviously, Mike Tirico, former Monday Night Football man, is sitting there. They've got an A-list, A-plus, associated with the NFL, football voice sitting there, and I guess they would plug him in with Collinsworth, who Al loves, Chris. I mean, when I say that, I can't stress enough how much this man loves Chris Collinsworth.
The slide.
But if I had to, again, I don't know. I have not spoken to Al, and I'm stunned. But my job is to talk into the microphone here and give you my thoughts.
Yeah.
This sounds like to me in the same way that Tom Brady is saying, maybe crazy, but I have one shot to do this, meaning last 2 years of my career. Where do I want to go? Sounds crazy because they have somebody, but I want to go to San Francisco. Sounds like to me Peyton Manning is basically saying to ESPN in conversations, you don't have somebody I'm going to come out and try this for, okay? If I'm going to do this and I'm going to try it and I'm going to make the most of it and I'm going to do this.
Get me the GOAT.
Goat the goat.
I want Al Michaels. I want Al because I know the two of them are tight. That I know for a fact. Al loves Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning loves Al Michaels. This sounds to me like Peyton saying, "I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I do it under certain circumstances." What is that? Well, I'll do it with Al. So NBC's comment is like Al's under contract,
right? Which technically Tom is, but Tom still is too.
And here's the thing that Al, you just again, he's such a good friend.
This story is crazy,
and it feels weird opining into a microphone. One of the things that Al would probably have to think hard about is ESPN doesn't have a Super Bowl yet. Now, I tell you this though.
That's exactly.
I'll tell you this, and the reason why ESPN is making these moves,
you
is
get Al Michaels and Peyton Manning.
You're getting a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you are.
You're getting a Super Bowl.
Not even a question.
That's correct. And these TV deals are up right now.
A couple
and
years.
ESPN wants to show the NFL that we're serious about putting as large of a names in our booth as that. And I guess maybe Al full circle coming around, starting with Monday night on NFL and ending with it. I don't know. One thing you won't see Al on is Around the Horn. I don't think you'll see Al on Around the Horn. He won't be going around the horn. He won't be,
He does Mondays.
Yeah, Al will do Mondays, and that'll be it.
That'll be it.
So, wow.
Do you believe in miracles?
Anything's possible in this business if people get in a room and talk about it. What do you want? What do you want? Do you want that? Do you not want that?
This is the ultimate Hail Mary.
And again, Al, I'm sure Al would be sitting there saying, well, what games are we going to get? Because I get Sunday night games here.
But there's talk of the flex Monday night scheduling.
And who's the producer? Who's the director? I don't know who directs or produces Monday Night Football right now, but Fred Gaudelli and Drew Esikoff are the best, with all due respect to everyone else.
They're great.
Wow.
It's still one game. Doesn't really change much for Al.
Well, except it's... I just gave you everything that does change. Like right now as it stands, they don't have a Super Bowl. Right now as it stands, they don't have the same producer and director it has. Right now as it stands, he loves Chris Collinsworth, and Peyton Manning's never done it before. But what a way to do that. And the same, again, the analogy is the same in my mind that Brady's saying, this may sound crazy, but guess what I want to do with the last 2 years of my career? I want to play for the team that I grew up loving, and they're terrific right now. And this may create a big hoo-ha, and it's going to be tough to figure out. But you ask me who I want San Francisco. And Peyton Manning's like, I'm happy staying home with the kids. I'm happy doing, Peyton's places for ESPN Plus, which, by the way, is NFL Films and will probably be nominated, if not win an Emmy. And, happy doing that. Maybe I want to own a team at some point.
But if you're Peyton and you see what Tony Romo just got $180 million, and you know that you were CBS's first choice, ESPN's going to open the bank for you.
And so, well, I don't know if coin is the issue. But coin is only relegated to respect in that regard once you've already got the coin that he has. But wow. He's probably like, who I'll take? I'll take Al Michaels. And you figure out the rest, and I'll just hang here in Colorado and take the kids to school. And you've got my number.
When it's ready.
You got my number.
Call me when the deal's done.
Call me when it's ready.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Now then, before Windhorst comes on, this will be fun.
Let's do this.
So last night, what happened? Someone was on Jeopardy, right?
Yeah, last night someone was on Jeopardy, and there's a clue about basketball.
Okay.
And we're like, This is interesting. This should be an easy one.
Okay. Do you have it?
And then this
Joel
happened.
Embiid in 2019 won the trademark for this nickname of his that also describes the 76ers' strategy of improving the team. Paul.
What is do a 180?
No. Margaret or Mike? What is the process?
Fantastic.
So I don't know what my favorite part of this is. What's my favorite part of this? That the dude had no idea. And it's
no clue.
And by the way, if you have no idea, do a 180 is not a bad,
Or just don't answer.
No. Hold on a second. If you're doing a 180 here, right? Then you're trying to use a sports term, although it's a 360 dunk. There's really no 180 dunk in the NBA. It's a 360 dunk. So you're halfway home, right? And you're trying to turn a team around. You're not and you don't know that this thing has been blown up completely.
Right.
And you're doing something that is totally anathema to winning in a sport is by losing on purpose to accrue future picks for the Embiids of the world and try and win. You suggest you do a 180, right?
What is do a 180?
Yeah. Right. So that would be your answer. Very impressive. Then the fact that the other two people are like, I don't know.
I think.
What is the process?
Yeah.
But he answers in the form of a question with such little confidence in himself. Like the inflection at the end is 180.
He YOLO'd it.
Think?
He YOLO'd it. Just 180? Do 180?
Embiid also having such a fun time with this.
What did he do?
He posted a video of some dude trying to do a 180, and he ended up behind the basket. He changed his name to Joel, quote, do a 180 Embiid, 3 question marks. He's bought in
I
on
love
this
his
too.
Twitter
Yeah,
feed,
it's great.
man. I just didn't see that last
What
night.
is do a 180?
I mean,
He went higher register.
He went higher register.
Yeah.
Well, so is that, we have a new drop here.
What is do a 180?
Do we have another drop too?
What is the process?
Okay, that's good too.
Love it. That's great.
By the way, Alex Trebek, our best wishes are obviously with him and for him as he just gave his 1 year update.
1 year update.
He looks great. He sounds great.
Looks great. Still fighting.
Right.
Glad he's still with us.
So here's what I want to do later in the show before maybe McAfee joins us, or maybe how about after Brian Windhorst?
Okay.
Let's come up with something in the sports world by someone or a team that should do a 180, and then something in the sports world of somebody that can trust the process.
All right.
And we'll open the phone lines as well on that subject at 844-204-RICH.
Perfect.
Which team or person should do a 180, and which team or person should trust the process? Mike, I want you involved in this too.
I'm in. I got one.
You do? Well, you need two.
I got one for each one.
You have one for each one.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Oh.
You must have read the rundown.
Wow.
I did.
It's impressive.
Preparation.
I have to.
All right, let's take a quick phone call before Windhorst joins us. Matt in Minnesota, let's take your call here. What's up, Matt?
Hey, let me just mention this real quick first, you guys. I've jumped ship officially from Colin Cowherd. I've been listening to you guys for about 3 months, and I'm loving it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Rich,
that.
Yeah, you bet. I was born and raised suburban Detroit. I didn't go to Michigan. I've actually lived in Minnesota for 30 years now.
Okay.
But I'm the biggest University of Michigan fan in the state of Minnesota.
Hang in there.
So, Rich, go blue tonight against the Huskers and Sunday against the Terps. We need a little momentum going into the conference tournament.
I agree.
Love listening, but now you guys, that the pleasantries are over, I'm going to criticize you guys a little bit. Yes. You guys, I know you can never say never about this Brady thing, but as far as I have never thought and never will think that he's going anywhere. I could be wrong. Until Belichick or Kraft or Brady say something to the contrary, I don't believe he's going anywhere. Let me just throw out a couple of these teams and how absurd I think it is. Whoever said the New York Giants back then and the who's the other one? The Dolphins. Should be ashamed of themselves because it makes so little sense. The Raiders is just as bad. If he wants to win, he's not going to win with the Raiders. So he's going there for money. That's why I don't think he's going there. The Titans and the Chargers, I can see, especially the Chargers, they have the best roster. And he's FaceTiming with Mike Vrabel. He's known him for 20 years. He probably FaceTimes and texts all the time. But my two favorites, guys, and then you guys can let me know what you think.
Sure.
The Cowboys and the 49ers. I know your buddy Dion, Rich, you mentioned the 40. You guys, Jerry Jones is a goofball. He was the problem last year, not Dak. Why would you move on from a 26-year-old Prescott who's going into his prime?
We could take the Cowboys out of the equation, Matt. You could take the I don't know where that one's coming from or why that would be real. Or they're not ready to win and win it all right now. I mean, they could. You could say they could put it all together, but I don't think Brady wants any part of that or any piece.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you guys, the 49ers, look, I'm not saying Garoppolo's a top 10 quarterback, but he's ascending. He's young. And he did, in my opinion, he did not lose that Super Bowl because he missed a 15-yard pass late. To me, that vaunted defense that looked like the Detroit Lions defense in the fourth quarter, they lost it along with that coach, Shanahan, who did the same thing in the Atlanta thing. He should have just kept handing the ball off to Mostert and Coleman and stuff. So I just don't see them moving on from a young, ascending quarterback who helped get them there for a 43-year-old. Let's face it, I love Brady, you guys, but he's regressed for 2 years in a row. So, Matt, you guys, I love listening.
Thanks,
I didn't
brother.
mean to criticize.
It's all good.
And I'm going to keep listening.
Matt, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Thank you so much.
In the most delightful way.
And welcome to the party, pal. And again, how many other shows can make a Mary Poppins Die Hard reference like that without hurting themselves? I didn't pull anything. I'm totally well hydrated.
Attaboy.
Look, I'm not saying 49ers are it's weird. It's weird and it's weird and it's wild, but it's possible. Again, you got to think about how these all-time greats think. I got 2 years to go. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to win? And what would make me most happy? It sounds weird, but let's try and see what's possible. Because I'm a GOAT. I know it sounds weird. I'm a GOAT. I think I want to do broadcasting. Sounds great. I can make a ton of money doing it. Stay in the game. It might put off me wanting to own a team or run a team for a while. But the only way I do it is to get, the GOAT that's doing it for another network to come out of his contract and be sent to the other network. Sounds weird. Sounds wild. Let's see what can happen because I'm a GOAT. That's the way these GOATs think. I mean, we're really tying these two together because I think it is the same thought process that's going on right now. All right, we turn, speaking of trusting the process, to Brian Windhorst of ESPN. I always love chatting with him. He's just got a great sense of everything and a great way of saying everything, and that's Brian Windhorst next right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the Honda HR-V right now. It's springtime, right around the corner. I know it might be, for some people, not feeling like spring, but it's right around the corner. And if you're antsy to get outside in the sun, you can take a journey in the 2020 Honda HR-V, which has got a lot to offer. There's a bold exterior that adds a fresh style to this Honda favorite. There's that 60-40 split-second row I've been telling you about in other vehicles. There's one in this Honda as well. It gives you more room for your road trips, nights out on the town. And this HR-V is an IIHS top safety pick for 2020. So there's available all-wheel drive. You can take it on all sorts of terrain, and there's available heated front seats if spring isn't coming close enough, touch-based automatic climate control system, and then convenience and versatility covered with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration. And you can step up the safety game with the Honda Sensing, which is available. Hurry into your local Honda dealer and check out the 2020 Honda HR-V today. All right, we're back here on YouTube. Hello, everybody. I'll be honest with you. It's a little weird talking about friends.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know when you try to make a trade, like ESPN has that NBA trade machine where like all the salaries have to work out and all that stuff.
Right.
So just thinking about it from that perspective, I mean, Stephen A. for Al, straight up.
Stephen A. for Al.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Or Greeny for Al. Like
we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
I mean, when you think salary-wise, like there's only a handful in Al's department.
I mean, I don't like talking for people or supposing on friends. It's awkward.
Yeah.
It's awkward and it's weird. But,
totally.
But I just know the way the man's mind works. It's be like, okay, well, when are you going to get a Super Bowl? What playoff games are you going to get? How do I know that Monday Night Football is going to get the games that I have on Sunday? There's no flex.
I mean, Al's not doing the Texans early Saturday window wildcard weekend playoff game.
Miami or
you know what I'm saying?
Somebody's got to get that game. Somebody got to. This just shows you, I'm telling you, as this collective bargaining agreement's getting sent out, and look,
Johnny Manziel, man.
no, I
money.
mean, no. Look, I this
Big money.
Another thing that's awkward to do, I'll share with you folks, is talk about what the players should do at this collective bargaining agreement. Everybody's not in the same boat. Some people make millions, some people don't. Some people have only 1 year left on their career because they're fighting for their career through the first 3-4 years. Some only have 1 year left on their career because they're 43. Some have, 10 years in and feel the squeeze. Some have 5 years in and don't want to feel the squeeze. There's different problems for different people. But this just shows you, if the players give the television negotiating hammer to the owners, whatever the revenue split is, if they give it to them right now with 10 years of labor peace and a 17th game and 2 playoff games, when CBS has done this and ESPN is trying to pull this off and NBC is doing this, potentially, I'm not saying, I have no idea. It just shows you there's some serious people that are trying to position themselves in the NFL saying, hey, we've got money and we've got the team in the booth. So give us what we're asking for, which is maybe a different night of the week or a different television package or an extra one. Right? That's what I'm saying. In Thursday Night Football, the complaints about Thursday Night Football when I was doing it.
Right.
Oh, God, this, that, the other thing.
The games were good last year.
Well, you know why the games have been improved is because Fox spent $3 billion on it.
And they got good games.
But they're also taking from their own Sunday slate and putting it on a Thursday, and they're not. To them, I'm imagining, obviously a late Sunday window is more viewers than a Thursday night, certainly as the season goes along. But they're not sitting there saying, hey, you took a game from us and gave it to another television partner that's Thursday Night Football. And they're like, fine. Okay, Eagles, Packers, week 4, Thursday night. That's fine. Yep. Let's do it. Certainly as the first game after NFL Network had weeks 2 and 3, it was the first one that was on Fox. Right. Eagles, Packers. Instead of it on a Sunday, we'll just put it on a Thursday. Instead of Joe and Troy doing it on a Sunday, we'll do it on a Thursday. And they might have gone higher register. I don't know.
Although I'm just watching the Yankees score right now. You guys should be worried about Garrett Cole.
Oh, stop it.
He's giving up 2 home runs in the first inning. I mean, it's season's over.
Is anybody banging a trash can? You're watching with the sound down. You don't know, right?
Just saying. 2 home runs in the first inning.
All right, Windhorst is on. Are we almost back here on the radio network?
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds.
Okay, let's take it down. Put up how people can follow us. There you go. We're back in a second with Brian Windhorst. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. All right, so I just love this man's work. I love his knowledge. I just love everything about him. And he's on Twitter and Instagram at Windhorst ESPN. He is ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst. How are you, Brian?
You're picking up on me. I thought you were talking about somebody else.
No, come on, man. It's been a while since we've talked. I tell you this every time. I love our chats. I just love the way your brain works and your information, and I love chit-chatting. Our poll question of the day, Chris Brockman, why don't we just start this one off with Windhorst to kick this one off, tip it all off. Go for it.
Yeah, real quick. They faced off last night, Brian. Who would you rather build your team around, Luka or Zion?
Man, it's a great question. You have to qualify it by saying that Luka is 2 years older. So when you can't compare them today, you have to think about where Zion would be in 2 years. Responsibly, even though I love what Zion does and I love watching him play, responsibly in the way the game is designed today, I'm trying to, this is like a visceral question. I'm trying to give an analytical answer. The perimeter player and the healthier player. Although the funny thing is, Luka's got more injury problems than Zion recently.
So you would go after
Luka, sorry.
When it's all said and done, you'll take Luka.
Yeah.
He is amazing, man.
Begrudgingly.
I mean, has he even worked out better? Has he even surprised the Mavericks, do you think?
If you watch last night's game, his hand was bothering him. He's got a bad thumb. His ankle still isn't right. They're giving him back-to-backs off because his ankle isn't right. And he made 4 plays in overtime in the course of about, I don't know, maybe about 90 seconds of game time, maybe 2 minutes of game time that were just A1A world-class plays. And I'm not talking about, step-back threes, pocket passes, tipping out an offensive rebound. I mean, he just does so many things. And, you look at his statistics, he's on the growth curve. Guards, we usually don't see them really hit their stride until year 3 or 4 because learning to play guard takes so much in the NBA, and you usually see a huge upswing in stats. So his statistics, even from last year when he was one of the best rookies we've seen for Rookie of the Year, his stats are way up this year, and I suspect he's going to keep going up on that curve.
And is Zion, and obviously it's so difficult to come from 10 under 500 and essentially 5 games back and catch an 8th and final playoff spot for a team. But Zion has definitely closed the gap, if you will, in a Rookie of the Year voting with Morant, one would say. He has no shot at catching him, though, right, for that award?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I would say to you that my vote is still open. 2 years ago, I voted Joel Embiid. He played 31 games. He did not win. Malcolm Brogdon won, but I felt confident in that. I felt that Embiid was the best rookie. I know it's not best rookie; it's Rookie of the Year. I understand that because Ja has been so strong, and not only that, they're playing much better now, and he's playing great. I want to say that I could still see myself voting for Zion, but it's going to be hard, especially if. And not because of anything other than Ja has been great. And I think there's a good chance the Grizzlies are going to make the playoffs. And considering they were a team that we thought might be tanking at the start of the season, him leading that is just a remarkable accomplishment.
Brian Windhorst here on the Rich Eisen Show from ESPN. So Steph Curry comes back now, and a very simple question is why? I mean, why in the world would a team that is in the running for, if you will, the most ping pong balls to set themselves up for the future bring in somebody like Curry back? Why is this happening?
3 reasons. Number one, now the teams that finish 1, 2, or 3 at the bottom all have the same odds. So it's not like it was years ago where a win could cost you 10 percentage points on getting the top pick. Secondly, and Steve Kerr has brought this up, the people at Chase Center pay a lot of money, and they want to see Steph Curry play, and part of this is business.
Yeah.
You're there to entertain your fans, and Steph Curry wants to play. And the third one is something that Greg Popovich, I think, has taught all of his players who played for him, and Steve Kerr fits in that for sure. Greg Popovich believes that there is no such thing as a wasted game. If you watch Pop over the years, he does some of his most important work in blowout situations either way. He coaches to the very end, and not in an annoying way, like he calls timeout down 7 with 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, right.
But, sometimes like you'll say, well, where did this lineup that the Spurs are playing in this playoff game, where did this lineup come from? Oh, it came from those 3 blowout games where they lost back in January. He decided to do this. And so Pop just believes there's nothing wasted. And Steve Kerr, I think, believes the same thing. There's nothing wasted, that even in these few games that he would have potential with Andrew Wiggins and some of these young guys who they're trying to evaluate, we can just scan past it in the scores and say, oh, they won by 15, they lost by 17, they lost by 25. He doesn't believe that. And I think all of those are factors as they made this choice.
So should we read into this? I'm just connecting dots here. The anti-tanking scenario that the NBA put into place last year that cost, if you will, the Knicks Zion, or had Zion land in New Orleans in a way, or should have given a better chance for the Knicks. The anti-tanking rule that the worst 3 all have the same percentage has led to Curry's return in a way.
I think
works?
it's playing a role, and certainly playing a role in that he's going to probably play a representative number of games. But I advocate for another NBA rule change that I think that the Warriors would be amazing in this case. Is I advocate for there to be a play-in tournament where the top seven teams in each conference make it as normal, and everything move on. And then there's a single elimination 8-team in each conference. 7 teams make it. 8 teams would play in a 3-game single elimination play-in. And like a conference tournament where, some team that's at the bottom of the American East Conference could get hot next week and win their way in. And can you imagine if, I think it would all be at a central site. I say put it in Vegas, put it in Washington, D.C., put it in Seattle, put it in Louisville, wherever you want to put it. And can you imagine the excitement level that existed if the Warriors could still play their way in? Klay Thompson, might not have shut it down for the season in that case. I think it brings a whole new element. The NBA has discussed something like this and tabled it because they don't have the support. I firmly think that it's a really good idea, and I think the Warriors this year are a great example of both cases.
All right, let me spend a little bit more time on this. Brian Windhorst here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, did you say single elimination, or it'd be best of 3, or what?
No. Single elimination.
Okay.
You play it over 5 days each conference. You'd play a back-to-back in the quarterfinals and semifinals, and take a day off and play the finals, and you stagger the 2 conferences so it goes over 5 days. It's a completely new television product to sell, and you reduce the amount of games in the regular season. The reason they can't reduce the amount of games in the regular season, Rich, is because they don't want to lose the money.
Sure.
Well, imagine if you had a brand new television product to sell. I mean, why do in football, why do colleges have conference tournament or conference championship games?
Money.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is more representative of making the NCAA tournament? Playing 18 games over 3 months to win your conference, or playing a conference tournament over 4 days in a central city? It's a season long. But why do they have the conference tournament?
Money.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
So why wouldn't you? And people love the single elimination aspect that exists. A couple of years ago, we had the last game of the regular season. We had Minnesota play against Denver in a play-in game for the last seed. Just as it turned out, they happened to be playing on the last day of the season.
Right.
It was one of the most exciting regular season games of recent memory.
Right.
The game went to overtime. It was amazing.
I remember.
Why couldn't you create that? And not only that, but you re-engage the fan bases. Like if you're a fan right now of the Knicks, what do you care about what they're doing? But if they had an opportunity to play their way in, imagine how you might view it differently. And, of course, if they get beat in the first round, they get beat in the first round. But it's also a way to go to cities that you'd like to develop for the future. The NBA is really interested in developing Mexico City, for example. Well, you could go to Mexico City for something like this. You could go to Seattle. You could go to Las Vegas. Or you could play it in established cities, To me, this is something that the NBA, they've looked at this on and off over the years. They've gotten serious about change. We just saw how positive change the All-Star game was.
Right.
They need to be proactive about this. And I just think that the Warriors, and it's not going to be that way every year. And by the way, your reward for doing this is you get to go be the 8th seed, and the other team, the number 1 seed, has now had 5 or 6 days of rest while you're playing. So the number 1, you'd even want to be the number 1 seed because you get the tired team coming out. I just think it is something that you take the best of college basketball, and you get a revenue-generating opportunity that creates something that the NBA can use.
So then right now, just to posit this, you're the Utah Jazz at 39-22, and obviously the Rockets would have to play another game to make it an even number of games between the two. The reason why I mention that is they're a half game behind the Rockets. Let's just say that that's the seeding. The Rockets are the 4th seed, so they and everybody up would get in the Western Conference playoffs right then and there. But Utah would have to go against Golden State. So here comes...
No, you're misunderstanding.
Okay.
The top 7 seeds
would
stay the same. They would advance to the tournament. Then for the 8th seed...
For the 8th and final playoff spot. So the Grizzlies would have to take on the Warriors right now, and the Blazers, Kings, Spurs, Pelicans, Suns, Timberwolves, we'd have a chance to see Zion in the 8th seed. Okay, I like it. So
That's
now...
right.
So
and you get 5 days of single elimination basketball with the collegiate feel, in markets. It'd be kind of like it'd be like a conference tournament essentially for the NBA.
So we'd start it right, and the week would probably be right after March Madness ends. So you continue with another tournament. It's just the NBA, right?
It would be exactly right. It would be in early April, and the teams who advance would get that week off to rest. And you would knock out the games that would normally be played in there, so you could reduce the NBA schedule from 82 to 74 or something like that, and you could maybe eliminate almost all back-to-backs during the season. So more time off during the season. And, yeah, you have to win 3 games in 4 days to get in, but you have to do that in college now. Some of them in the colleges, you have to win 3 games in 3 days to get in.
And then with all that basketball from March Madness, and if your team gets a week off, you could be a fan that load manages your television viewing, right? You just take that.
Yeah, can you imagine
on your
the
couch,
demand for a product like this? I mean, the NBA is locked up for a long time on TV rights. Can you imagine if they put, by the way, they would all play on top of each other, just like the NCAA. There would be, 3 games in each conference on those days, and so you just imagine in Vegas.
Oh, baby.
You would go to Vegas and be able to theoretically watch 3 NBA games, just like you could do in college now. You can watch 4 in the early rounds of college.
Can we do that this year? Is it too late to just start
I love this,
this?
Brian. We're in. Rich Eisen show is in.
Yeah, trust me. I've been trying to sell it to New York. It's been sluggish.
Well, not anymore. You got us.
Maybe.
You got us support. We
Well,
endorse
I appreciate
this.
your advocacy.
We endorse your candidacy, sir. We endorse. Unfortunately, we're out of the running, but you know what I mean. In the NBA. But,
yeah, let's say Trae Young gets hot for 3 days.
Oh, please!
Scores like three straight 45-point games. Bucks can play their way in. Plus, the games at the end of the season, even in March, when you're out of it. If you're the Washington Wizards, well, it would give you an incentive to keep playing. Because you would say, well, we don't want to have the number 13 seed. We'd like to see if we can get down to the 10 to give us a better chance.
Spike Lee may even come back to watch the Knicks. Who knows, right?
Spike could come to this neutral site to watch them play, and he could sit in the first row and nobody would bother.
All right, let's get into this last thing for you here. Brian Windhorst on the Rich Eisen Show. The sell the team movement, it's beginning, and I wholeheartedly have been endorsing that for years with the Knicks fans in Dolan. I can't stand the way that this man runs the business. I think he's the worst owner in professional sports now that obviously Donald Sterling is out. So now my question for you is, Knicks fans that hope that Adam Silver or the NBA front office will, quote unquote, do something as Charles Oakley is advocating, is there any possibility of something like that happen? How is this being viewed in New York City with NBA management? Brian?
No way. It was funny when a report surfaced that Leon Rose was going to be the two-team president, which, by the way, were true. He put out a statement basically denying it. But at the beginning of the statement, he just said, by the way, I'm not selling the team. And I thought it was funny. I just don't know if that's going to now be his – every time the Knicks release a statement, it's just going to be in there. Knicks announced bobblehead giveaway schedule. By the way, Jim Dolan's not selling the team. Knicks announced, watch party for the draft. By the way, Jim Dolan's not selling the team. It's like a total no-brainer. Not only that, if he were to put the team for sale, he's got 2 teams plus the guards, and I know they're breaking them up, did different companies and all that stuff, but you'd need – to buy the Knicks straight off, I think you'd need at least $4 billion, and that's going to limit the amount of people who would want. I mean, Jeff Bezos, if he wanted to buy a team, come in and buy the Knicks, but there's not a whole lot of people out there who could buy it for that price, and it doesn't even matter because he's not selling anyway.
Thank you, Brian. Really appreciate the 2 cents here. Large sample size theater available on Spotify. That's your podcast, correct, sir?
The Hoop Collective, but that was our episode last week.
Okay, very good.
But
thank you, sir.
But whatever, the names are just corny.
Oh my gosh!
Just listen to it.
So give me the.
You can hear more of my bad ideas will be rejected by the NBA.
Hey, listen, man. I love the idea. It's not a bad idea at all. Like we all can't get enough of brackets and bracketology, and then once
how much time the NFL? There's like 3 ownership committees that sit around and plot how they can figure out how to get more games. Here's a golden plate opportunity to get more meaningful games. It's one of the things that leagues die for, and here it is right here. They're right on the table.
All right, Brian, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. We'll chat again soon. You got it. That's Brian Windhorst at Windhorst ESPN.
I'm digging this idea.
I love the idea.
It's great.
I love the idea. That means Zion would have a shot to make the playoffs and make a run. And who wants a piece of that?
And make a run.
And again, you make the top 7, so you're out. And if you The eighth, if you're an eighth and final playoff spot team, you're not guaranteed to make it. Why wouldn't you want to see Damian Lillard get a shot or Popovich's Spurs get a shot? Why not? Curry, boy, that would be.
But if Curry comes back and then Clay comes back for this tournament, somehow the Warriors go on a run and knock everybody off, and suddenly they're playing the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs.
Now suddenly that even gains more cachet because you just watched him go on a fun run.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Channels his inner Davidson days.
And the 1 seeds would say, we'll do that because whoever wins the 8th seed just went through a 5-day tournament crucible, and now they got to play us in best of 7. That'd be a particular handicap for the 8th seed to try and knock off a 1 seed. So 1 seed's like it's an essential buy just when you figure that out, but not if Curry and Clay walk into the building with Draymond Green.
Nope.
That's a fun idea, man. I like it. All right, 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. We'll check on the poll question. When we come back, which team or person needs to do a 180 in sports, and which team or person needs to trust the process, as inspired by the worst Jeopardy sports fail we've heard in quite some time? That's next on this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. And check us out during commercial breaks, as well as throughout the entire day, all 3 hours of the Rich Eisen Show, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. We appreciate anybody out there checking us out in that manner. We're back with all of that on the Rich Eisen Show in a moment. All right. What are you doing, TJ? What do you got here?
I just said sit in. No. I got some answers to the YouTube question.
What do you got?
About
what do
the
you
180 and trusting the process.
What do you mean? What YouTube question?
You asked the question about which teams or person should do a 180.
Oh, you've got one too? Oh, you got YouTube answers?
I've just been collecting some answers over there.
On our YouTube?
Our YouTube chat, which is blowing up.
Is it? But and we're good though, right?
Oh yeah, the
Okay.
BOTS. I don't want. I want to treat them like Beetlejuice and Candyman and not say their name out loud. It looks like we held them off.
But people are trying to talk about it. It's like Fight Club. Stop talking about it.
Well, I told him, I'm like, let's treat this like Candyman and Beetlejuice. Don't say their names.
Tyler Fitz, keep show going forever. Tyler, we'd love to do that, and we're gonna. All right, so what do you got? What are the answers? What do you got?
Well, for some of the teams or people that should do a 180, we've gotten the Bengals, the Falcons, the Dolphins, Harbaugh in Michigan, Odell.
I don't particularly like the YouTube fans chatter.
Odell and Tom Brady.
By the way, that was an Ohio State bot.
And for those who should trust the process.
I'm sorry. That was the Ohio State bot. My bad. Because you could get confused.
It said Buckeye, hashtag Buckeye.
All right, so now that's the do a 180?
That's a few of the 180s. And those that should trust the process are the Dolphins, Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills. A lot of comments about the Bills. I think Bills Mafia is coming out and watching this right now. Mm-hmm. The Packers, Jameis.
Well, the whole thing but trust the process, you've got to have, if I'm not mistaken, this is the do a 180 is easy to come up with. The trust the process is a tough one because it's got to be something that the team needs to be reminded, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. don't take the easy way out. Go the long road. Just even when you think that there may be no reason to do the long road, trust the process.
I think the Bills fans were thinking that they were on the path of making something good happen in Buffalo, and it's just kind of the comments we were getting. Also, Rich?
Yes?
The Rich Eisen Show on YouTube should trust the process. We got that in there.
Oh, well, I mean, we're just getting started here.
Baby. Yeah, we're just getting started.
What else are we doing here, right?
That's what I think they're saying. Just keep trusting the process. Keep doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, day one was yesterday, and there was a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Peaches.
Peaches.
Don't forget the peaches.
A lot of lumps.
The peaches. Okay. Very good.
I mean,
couple cucumber.
So
emojis.
are you doing what are you're doing your job or are you chatting?
I'm chatting and doing my job.
Well, you're talking to Prabhu.
I got a lot of fans on there, Rich.
I mean, that's what you're doing.
I said hi, Prob.
Well, I'm just saying.
Is Prabhu in there?
Yeah.
Prabhu's in here.
Okay.
I say hi to people when they say hi, Mike, or hi, Del Dufo.
Mike's very popular on this stream.
People are also wondering, Rich, if you got a lot of sun recently.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is I have gotten sun. I have no makeup on. Every single time I'm on television, I've got, this. No, this is going on right here. And again, I have not I didn't think about, when we're going on YouTube and, the television show from Audience had a lot of ancillary and, in terms of the top of my head, necessary support staff, including makeup.
Somebody said something about
and we'll get that working.
Stuff.
I know. Look, everybody, come on now.
It's like, come on, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a nice sweater.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Although someone, look, I don't want to bring up the bad stuff. Someone did say
What's
that.
the bad stuff?
Somebody was clowning your sweater earlier as well.
Yeah, you got
clowning on the sweater, huh?
Which I like the sweater, but someone said that their
nice.
grandpa called and asked for the
It's
sweater
nice.
back.
That's nice.
And I thought that was kind of mean of them.
Grandpa called to ask for the sweater back.
Ouch. Well, I mean,
Rich, they said you're
it's
trusting
it's
the
nice.
process.
It's nice. Trust the process. Trust the
Plus,
process.
on the sweater, right?
Trust the
Just stay
process.
the course.
Also, you're lean, which I like now. You've definitely lost some weight.
I haven't, so the sweater looks big, right?
Yeah, the sweater looks big.
By the way, I had a great workout with Peter Park yesterday.
What are you doing?
Oh, God, everything. I literally is one of those, just lying down on the floor at the end.
Yeah. So here's the situation. I'm not going to be able to make it to the gym, I think, for a while.
Dude, Cage is...
So I went and bought some dumbbells so I can do some stuff at home.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking about getting like a punching bag for the back. So
You boxing now?
I'm just saying I gotta stay active. Like,
That's true.
I'm not gonna be able to take 2 hours to drive to the gym, work out, and come home.
They screw it all up. Kids are great, but they screw it all.
You'll be able to take him out in the cars.
It was all
Yeah,
good just a
he
week
can't
ago.
go outside yet because we haven't had the shots. You know
Are we
what I mean?
coming back anytime soon?
Yeah, we got about 50 seconds.
Oh,
So
thanks for letting us know,
I
Mike.
wait. So I'll give you 40, 30,
Oh, I think fans like watching us during commercial break.
I can be honest, I've
the
never
behind the
seen
scenes.
anything on TV quite like what we're putting together and doing right now.
Just like we're doing
This
Eisen
is a
overtimes and
live
during
Eyes
commercial
and
breaks.
overtimes during the breaks.
All right, look,
Although it
youtube.com/Rich
really cuts
Eisen
down on
Show.
the bathroom opportunity.
I know.
That's
Well,
true.
you could go. I mean,
I know, but I don't want to miss anything.
do what Cage does. Just go in your pants.
I do that every
By the
night.
way, we've got Sarah Tiana posting some very good Cage video today.
Very good. All right. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. We've got Pat McAfee joining us in hour number 3, and that'll be a lot of fun. Chris Brockman's news update coming up. There's a lot of news popping in the National Football League broadcasting world. Unbelievable. We'll hit on that idea. That's New York Post reporting that ESPN trying to acquire back Al Michaels, who they traded away in 2005 to NBC. In exchange for Olympic viewing rights on highlight rights on SportsCenter and Oswald the Rabbit. By the way, I'm not joking. Look it up. So just replay what happened on Jeopardy last night, Mike Del Tufo. Replay.
Joel Embiid in 2019 won the trademark for this nickname of his that also describes the 76ers strategy of improving the team. Paul.
What is do a 180?
No. Margaret or Mike? What is the process?
I mean, that is fantastic.
That's a good nope out of Alex Trebek. Nope. Couldn't be further from the truth. Nope.
Way up.
You're very wrong. And you're very wrong. Okay, so now let's each one of us come up with which sports team or entity or personality needs to do a 180. And then we'll see which one needs to trust the process.
Okay.
Let's each take a few seconds of what we can do before Pat McAfee and your news update in hour number 3 with more phone calls. Who's up first? Chris, why don't you go first?
Do a 180?
Very good.
All right, nice. All right, I'm going to go first. I'm going to hit boxing. I'm going to say Deontay Wilder should do a 180 here and not fight Tyson Fury.
Why?
Right away. I understand the payday element of doing the third fight right away, but watching that fight, I think Deontay Wilder needs to get some confidence back. So I think he needs to have a couple of fights, lay the hammer of God on some people's faces, watch them go down to the canvas, count to 10, feel that victory, that sense of, I got this, I'm the man, and then fight Fury next year.
And then come into the ring in something that weighs 5 pounds.
Maybe something a little lighter than 40 pounds.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one. What about you, Mike? What's your do a 180?
You're
not going to play the drop before.
Do a 180?
Very good.
Mine is actually for me. I'm going to do a 180 and
about
say
yourself.
This is your
no about Taylor Swift, who you guys know I really don't like. I'm going to say she's actually not as bad as I thought she was.
Where did this come from?
Whoa.
It's just I'm doing a 180 on it, and I actually don't think she's as bad as.
But what brought it on? Was it a song?
I kind of
particular
listened to in my car when I got on my car. I lost the ability to do anything but listen to one station. My radio effed up, pardon the expression.
Yes.
But it screwed up, and I only had one station, and it was Sirius XM Taylor Swift. So for like 3 or 4 days, that's all I had to play. And it was driving me nuts.
That?
And
Wow.
I kind of, she came.
You shaking it
Wow.
off.
Okay.
I shook it off.
All right. Well,
Right.
that's
So,
impressive. Okay. There you go.
What is do a 180?
I'm a 180.
There you go. It's almost like a 270.
That's true.
I know.
Okay.
That's
So
what I weigh.
here's in that vein,
What is do a 180?
Rob Manfred should come out and say, after hearing from all the fans, that my phone lines have been totally inundated, and I know that I gave everyone immunity, and I know that this is going to bring on a bunch of lawsuits from the Players Association, but I'm going to name and suspend every single one of the Houston Astros that banged a trash can in 2017.
Baby.
I'm doing a 180, and come get me, Players Association, because the fans have spoken, and the players in other teams have spoken, and they do not like the fact that these players are getting off and not being as remorseful as they should be. I'm doing a 180, and I'm suspending them for the entire 2020 season. Come at me, Houston Astros and Players Association.
What is do a 180?
That's right.
Oh, baby.
Could you imagine?
That would be.
I'm hearing from so many fans that are like, they're not
gotta do
remorseful
it.
enough. Screw it.
No.
I can't stand it. I want them to throw have bean balls thrown at them. And I'm like, look, vigilantism in baseball is not the national pastime.
What would be an acceptable punishment? Like, how many games?
A year.
The whole year?
A year.
Adios.
Yeah. See ya.
Wow.
Bring up AAA baseball players and see how they do in Houston.
Yep.
Wow.
Because you're going to not play as well.
All right, we've got 3 minutes to go. Trust the process. Who should trust the process?
What is the process?
Nice.
Production values.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say the 49ers here should trust the process on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
Just think about this for a second. He's 21-5 in his career. He won 13 games last year, threw for 4,000 yards and 27 touchdowns.
Yes.
And he had you 7 minutes from the Super Bowl. If Chris Jones's giant right paw doesn't knock down a
I
pass,
appreciate you saying right, Paul.
they probably win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So let's just relax. And if you're the 49ers, it's cool. Yes, like dating Tom Brady would be awesome. But just stick with the one you
Trust the Jimmy G
What
process.
is the process?
What do you have over there, Mike?
Mine's a quick one. Pats fans, trust the process. Brady's going to stay with you.
Okay.
Oh.
Bill and Bill we trust,
We're
and
gonna
Robert
Bill-
Kraft we
Oh, no,
trust.
Bill's my guy now after working with you on the NFL 100.
You did a 180.
I did a
What
180.
is do a 180?
I did a 180 on Bill, too. I did. I mean,
Yeah,
how
we're
could
all
you
clapping for you. You did
mean,
a 180 and you trust
and
the
I
process.
trusted the process all
At
in
the
one.
same time.
At the same time.
Wow, Bill Belichick and Taylor Swift back in the
knew?
good graces.
Who knew?
All right, here's my trust the process. Knicks,
What is the process?
Knicks fans, keep chanting sell the team. Keep doing it. He hears you. He hears you. We just heard it's going to cost somebody $4 billion. It's all right. Andrew Yang's going to run from there and buy the Knicks too. Bloomberg, what's he going to do with his money? You know it.
Oh, we've seen what he just
Somebody's going to buy the Knicks. Someone can do it. Someone will do it. He's going to be pressured. Keep it up. Keep it up because it's so silly to take you, the fan who still shows up, paying customer, gives your money in this man's pocket. You chant sell the team, and somebody from MSG Security, someone from Team Kevin comes up and takes you to the concourse, and there's somebody just chit-chatting with you from Team Kevin. Keep going. Keep going. Trust the process. NBA is not going to ride in on a white horse. It's you, the fan, that's going to apply the pressure to James Dolan and get him to sell the team. You are not welcome here in your own house, Jim. No matter how many times you take the fans out, it's not going to bring Spike back and Oak back and Marv back. No free agents are going to come. And we can all live happily ever after if you Knicks fans keep trusting that process.
What is the process?
That's right. 844-204-RICH. Number to dial.
That drop, like the Jerry Jones ones, never going to get old.
YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Stream us all 3 hours, and certainly hour number 3. America's sweetheart, Pat McAfee, will be joining us. Chris Brockman's news update. You got one particular piece of news that you want to just throw out there?
We're going to hear from Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, everybody.
Brady.
And Pat McAfee and you at 844-204-RICH. That's coming up on the Rich Eisen Show, and Rich Eisen Show from YouTube as well. Do that. Okay, so we've been chit-chatting during our commercial breaks. We do need to trust a certain part of the process of our bodily necessary. All right, somebody's got to pee around here.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right. So here was Queen Cersei, Lena Headey, when she was on our show, promoting Fighting With My Family, and also obviously in the big throes of Game of Thrones back in the day. Bench cut with Lena Headey. You're on Rich Eisen Show.
Time. Start now. Bench.
Just sit down and be quiet.
Or cut. Get out.
Okay, the most imaginative form of revenge by Cersei Lannister. Okay, you have to start one that's your number one choice. Bench is number 2, and you have to cut one that you say you're not really into.
Okay.
Okay, you gave the nun who shamed you to the mountain. You killed everyone, literally everyone, with wildfire. Or the kiss of death to Ilaria Sand's daughter right in front of her.
I would start by giving Septunella to the mountain.
That's your favorite one?
Yes. Bench the wildfire and cut Ilaria. Maybe.
They got to tell you, the wildfire, when that happened, the whole room I was in, because again, you watched this with just 10, 15 people.
Yeah.
Went crazy.
They did.
I mean, literally like jaw hitting the floor. Because that is some serious. And then you just watching it from afar.
Yeah, just having some wine. watching it go down.
Is there wine in there? Is there real wine in there?
It's like some weird laxative.
Some weird laxative.
No, it's not.
Okay, fantastic. I love
prune
that.
juice.
All right, next one. Things that made Joffrey Baratheon so evil. Start bench cut. The pressure of being king since birth. The fact that his uncle is actually his father. Pampering by his mother.
Oh,
Start
pampering
bench.
by his mum. Start.
Yeah?
Baratheon bench and the other one cut.
Just really? The pressure of being king since birth, you cut that?
Yes, it's no pressure. It was my fault. It was all my fault.
So you blame it on the mother?
Yes.
You blame it on the mother. All right, next one. Which Game of Thrones season was the worst for Cersei? Season 4, when Joffrey and Tywin went down. Season 5, when the High Sparrow led to the Walk of Atonement. Or Season 6, when Tommen...
You know what? I think we're going to have to start with the Walk of Shame because that was pretty awful. I think Tommen, not too happy. Dad didn't really love him, so we'll cut that.
Okay. What was the Walk of Shame scene like for you?
It was long. It was 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah. We did it in kind of sections and because they had to hide us all from the tourists and stuff. And brilliant Rebecca, who was my body double. So we would just... kind of tag team in and out the whole 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
That's insane how long that is. Oh my gosh. All right. And I've got the last one for you here. The best badass, The Mountain, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, or Cersei Lannister? Start bench cut.
No, you know.
Yes. Start bench cut.
I'm gonna cut the Mountain because he's dead anyway. And he's a zombie. I think Cersei could take The Rock.
Okay.
She's going to start. He's going to bench.
You're going to bench The Rock and start your own character.
I'm going to meet him. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Okay. Look, it's okay. We're going to make sure that the two of you get together. I have met the Mountain in person. Yes. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
He's the hugest individual I've ever met in my entire life.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
The amount of food he consumes.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like we have to cut because Hathor has to have his 7th chicken of the day.
So
I'm not joking.
He dominates craft service?
Yes.
Is that what he does? He's out there?
They literally bring him like a feast every hour so he doesn't faint. He just kind of eats.
That's amazing. That's some cool.
What we're gonna do right here is go back into time.
Yesterday on the Rich Eisen Show.
Brady may not be a scheme fit for the 49ers. I just said those words, and I did not say.
Can you elaborate?
There's a lot of gotta run and get out of the pocket, and I know that would be insulting to Tom at age 43, what he's going to be, and that he can do anything physically, significantly, and he can get himself in shape. I'm not saying he's not, but one thing he doesn't do is run like a deer out of that pocket.
Another Rich Eisen Show is coming at you right now. This is the Rich Eisen Show.
I appreciate the way you talk to us and not at us, as opposed to the most fabulous sports babe wannabes do these days.
Thanks, Brent.
Live in Los Angeles.
Hey, Rich. I've actually been listening to the podcast.
Download and podcast at richeisenshow.com.
Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show.
I don't know that the market is all that hot. I think there's a limited number of teams that are interested. The Patriots are interested in bringing him back. The Titans are interested, but they're also interested in their own quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
Earlier on the show, Boston columnist Tom Curran, NBA insider Brian Windhorst. Coming up, Pat McAfee. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Hour number 3 of the Rich Eisen Show on the air, live in Los Angeles, live on this radio station that you're kind enough to listen to us on, live on Sirius XM, live also on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. We're live every day on that spot. You could see us. I'm not wearing any makeup, and I'm wearing a sweater that some people are making fun of on my on the YouTube feed. You know? We're just trying to improve things here on a daily basis, just trying to be better at what we're doing than from the day before. America's sweetheart, Pat McAfee, is going to be joining us shortly. Kind of welcome us to the YouTube world. Pat McAfee shows on YouTube every day, like we are now. So, saw Pat in Indianapolis last week for the brand.
How's his man cave over there?
I love it. It's great. His operation there is beyond impressive. The whole thing, soup to nuts. All his guys, all his people. His dad was there, chilling out. Didn't his dad once tie him to a post once? Didn't he tell us that story, Chris?
Yes, kick soccer balls at him while he was strapped to the post.
He looked like a very solid citizen, good dad, father of the year type stuff when I met him. Didn't look like a guy who would do that to his son. But he also toughened him up.
His dad's they're from West Virginia, right?
And Pat, I think Pat's, to start his whole thing off, he's kind of self-funded. It helps to punt, and be paid Irsay dollars for 10 years in the league.
He was all pro.
Who better to ask about the latest news out of the New York Post than Pat, than the other guy who built Lucas Oil Stadium, Pat McAfee.
Because he was actually laying the bricks for Lucas Oil?
He was putting the bricks.
He was supplementing his income on the weekends.
Tom Curran joined us in hour 1. You can check out our full archive on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show as well. Tom Curran joined us in hour 1 and totally soup to nuts went through what happened, best he can tell, between Brady and Belichick on the phone early this week. It did not go well. Where he might go, what he might do, what his thinking could be, what the timing of it is, what Robert Kraft's role in all this may be. Check it out. The video's sitting right there. Brian Windhorst came on in hour number 2, said, actually, what's the poll question results as they currently stand? Brought to you by Capital One, which is reimagined banking by offering savings and checking accounts with no fees or minimums, one of the nation's best savings rates. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Where do things stand right there, Chris?
So who'd you rather build your team around? They faced off last night, Luka versus Zion. Right now, Luka leads the way, 74%.
Yeah.
But as Windhorst did say,
yes,
judge Zion in 2 years when he's 21 like Luka.
Correct. So that's what he that's how he voted. And he also said that he's made this suggestion, received not much but static in return, I guess, from the NBA, from the front office, to come up with a final week of the NBA regular season in which the top 7 seeds get the week off, and the eighth seeded team and everybody down south in the standings play a tournament where the winner who wins the tournament over a 5-day span in a neutral site is the 8th and final playoff spot seeded team in the conference. And we would be watching wall-to-wall basketball of single elimination games just like the NCAA tournament the week after March Madness concludes in April. I kind of love it.
I'm kind of into it.
I love it. What a great idea.
Hearing his explanation, where you have it all in one city, preferably Las Vegas, it's kind of like the NCAAs where the one venue has Game. Boom. It's awesome.
Right. Let's take a phone call before your news update. Aaron in Los Angeles, been hanging on for quite some time. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, Rich, diehard Niner fan, and if you allow me to go into detail, we should not stay the course with Jimmy G.
Okay.
This is deja vu all over again. 2011, we reached the NFC title game with Alex Smith. It was very obvious that, he can't get the team over the hump. We pursued Peyton over the offseason. He decided to go to Denver. Just think about had Peyton Manning came to the Niners, that Super Bowl against the Ravens, and, things worked out. We went back and played Seattle in an NFC title game. Two totally different outcomes. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. Everyone keeps on saying he's young. Yes, he's 28 years old, but he sat behind Brady for 3 years. He's in year 3 of the exact same offense. Alex Smith never, ever had that luxury. Bring Brady in. Let's see what happens for a year or two. If he gets hurt, if he doesn't work out, the future quarterback is already on the team. Nobody talks about. We don't need Kirk Cousins. We have Nick Mullins, who I think is going to be groomed to take over the franchise in the next 2 or 3 years. What are your thoughts?
What is do a 180?
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa.
That's he gave some really deep thoughts right there, Aaron. You really nailed it, bro. That is essentially what I think the 49ers concept would be in doing it. He kind of mapped it out. Now, whether no. I
mean, with all due respect to Nick Mullins, man,
Nick Mullins wouldn't be the answer moving on 2 years from now when Brady's done. No. Big Nick Mullins, who was on the Rich Eisen show, by the way.
He was.
No.
Okay.
They'd have to figure out how to supplement the pipeline. Oh, yeah, man. But I guess he just kind of gave you the idea of Jimmy G's 28, sure, but let's move on. Nick Mullins, I wouldn't agree at that point. That would be doing 180. Chris Brockman's news update brought to you by the Honda HR-V. Stupendously stylish and available with an all-wheel drive. The HR-V is ready to team up for your next adventure, so hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
And now, with a report of the day's news from the world of sports and entertainment, someone who is not a journalist or newsman by any definition of the word whatsoever, it's Chris Brockman.
All right, Christopher, what do you have over there?
All right, we can't talk enough about Tom Brady, and if you missed this yesterday, we played it in the first hour. Let's play it again. Dana White's podcast of UFC president, huge New England fan. He's friends with Tom Brady. He was on Instagram Live as well when he did this. He called up Tom Brady and made his pitch not to stay in New England, but to come to the Raiders.
Let me make my last pitch. Las Vegas would love to have you here at the Raiders. The stadium, the facility is incredible. The training facility that they have outside of Vegas is unbelievable. It's a 45-minute flight from LA. Your kids and your family can live there. You can fly back and forth. We want you to come to the Raiders. You know I've been pitching you now for a month. I love you too. Come on, brother. Get to Vegas.
Thanks, man. I know it's been a lot of patience for me. And obviously being where I've been for 20 years, it's been an amazing experience. And I don't know what the future holds right now. I'm just trying to be patient through this process, my first time going through it. And in the meantime, I'm going to spend a lot of time with my family over the next 10, 12 days. And we got a little vacation plan, which I'm looking forward to.
Now, my question for you is this. We haven't heard from Tom, really, speak, outside of that enhanced audio from the Syracuse game. Do you believe Tom when he says he doesn't know what the future holds?
Correct, I do believe it. Because I'm sure San Francisco has not fully figured out his entreaty just yet. And that's where he wants to try it. I bet. You heard Tom Curran in hour one say anytime he's mentioned it on the air, I think 50% he wants to go, it'll be 50-50, New England and Tennessee.
Right.
But, the 49ers are on the outside gaining steam. And he's like, people text him saying, don't lose that thread. Keep pounding that story. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Tom is sitting there thinking it may be crazy, it may not be possible, but that's what this is all about, the art of the possible. I'm a goat with 6 rings, knock on the door of my childhood team and say, he wants this. Do you? check this box. Do you like me? I like you. I've liked you for a long time.
Middle school here?
When Tom was dreaming of playing for the 49ers, he was passing these notes around. Check this box. I like you. Do you like me? Why not give it a try? And again,
why not?
What a conversation to call up your agent and say that, knowing that he also represents James G.
Is that weird? Like that's.
Well, the answer to that question is, I don't know, but you have to think it would be weird. Hear me out now.
Like obviously Don wants the best for both
It's happened before.
clients.
It's happened before. It's already happened.
But not as high profile as this.
It was pretty damn high profile last time, huh?
Yeah, but I think this is even
bigger.
more than last time.
Yeah. Garoppolo's just there.
I guess based on all reporting, get him out of here is easier to say than now I want his job.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, I know you got that big old extension and John Lynch gave you all kinds of love, but they're trading you back to New England because Tom wants to play for San Francisco. And Jimmy G's like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Unless he's like, sure, send me there. I love McDaniels.
Yeah, but
That
then
was
you're
great.
going to a team that's
Bill
not
and I
the
get
same
along.
team, even though
I don't
Bill's
know.
there.
I don't know.
Oof.
Or he just goes to Tennessee, or he goes to he goes to Las Vegas. By the way, Mayock told me about their training facility.
I can't even imagine.
He's so fired up.
I can't even imagine.
He's fired
Amazing.
up. He's fired up. He said the training facility is amazing.
They're putting the roof
second Death Star
on right now.
I have no idea.
On the Allegiant.
I don't. But party at Mike's house in April.
I'm in.
Yeah, buddy.
You're not invited.
Wow. My house.
I just did do a 180.
Mike
Just do
Mayock,
a
not
180.
your own house.
What else you got over there?
Okay,
Because
so
McAfee's calling soon.
another free agent quarterback who's in his 40s, Drew Brees, was on WEEI this morning.
Yes.
And he was asked what he thinks of Tom Brady in his situation.
I love Tom Brady. I feel the way everybody else around here does about Tom Brady. He's a legend,
Yeah.
and I don't see him going anywhere. But but then again, I can't speak for him or anybody else. Tom has been a guy who's kind of been the model for all of us for a lot of years. I don't think any of this is about money for Tom. I think it's about winning another championship. I also think it's probably about feeling like he's in a situation where he's got all the pieces in place to do that. So, again, I can't speak for him, but I know at this stage in the game and knowing his mentality to a degree, it's about winning a championship.
He also said he's not going anywhere. He's in New Orleans. He's Who Dat Nation for life. Let me get that exact quote. Listen, I have no intention of going anywhere. I don't care what the offer would be or what the situation might be. I am Who Dat Nation for life. You know what I heard at the Combine?
About Drew Brees?
Yes. This is what I heard at the Combine. You know when Drew came on our show and at the Super Bowl?
Crashed the set with Eric Stone Street.
It was all nice and chill and everything, and he left. We looked at each other like, he's coming back. Like this whole thing about him taking time.
Right.
He's coming back. It was dicey. He legitimately was thinking about not coming back.
About retiring.
Mm-hmm. Like he really did need to take that time. That's what I was told. Baby. Yeah. And that he is recharged and he legitimately had to go through whatever he went through. I don't know what he went through. Or who, obviously you have to figure he talked to his wife and thought hard about it. But apparently it was
like a 50-50 situation?
I have no idea. Who knows with percentages. But it was, I honestly thought that he needed to think about it. I honestly thought, come on, this guy's coming back. And maybe the reason why I did is the reason why he did come back. He just can't, he can't quit it. He's such a gamer. He's so damn good at it, and you can win it.
Look at the last 3 years. They've been as close as you possibly can be.
And here's the thing, just real quick, and then you give me one more thing, we'll get Pat on. That the conversation we're having with Brady, what's the best chance to win? Where's the best chance to win? What if that job was open? Right? Come on.
Tom Brady and Sean Payton.
You know what I'm just saying is that what if that job was open? What if the job was open? Forget about the fact that they have their own first ballot goat that's been there.
Right.
What if that job was open? What if Breeze did say we're done? That I didn't want to go. Where would be the best place for Tom to win? With a coach and a team That's close.
Michael Thomas and Alvin.
It would be New
Kamara
Orleans.
and-
So why wouldn't Drew Brees come back if it's the same process of a first ballot GOAT of like, do I want to do it? Do I not? Okay, I want to do it. Where do I want to go? I got to do it where I'm comfortable, where I got a coaching staff, where I got the chance to win. It's New Orleans.
By the way, and
all you
think
got to do
of
is just stay put. You know,
and just think of the sports talk first take conversations. If Drew Brees quit, Tom goes to New Orleans, and they win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Does that affect Drew Brees' legacy and Mount Rushmore and blah blah blah?
Well, his legacy's secure. GOAT, one of the best of all time. You got one more item?
Yeah,
over?
real quick. Steph Curry returns to the Warriors tonight.
Yes, we talked about that with Windhorst.
So
Check it all out.
So
on
that's
our,
a big deal
on our YouTube page
big
right
deal
here.
in the association. And I saw this yesterday. Didn't get to it. So James Bond, the new James Bond, supposed to come out in April.
Yes.
Pushing back. The producers are pushing back the release till the end of this year because of coronavirus concerns.
Are they shooting in Italy? Are they shooting in parts of?
I think they're thinking like box office wise, people might be scared to go to the movies coming up in the next month.
How about that?
Yeah, I read an article on that theaters are actually worried because of it.
And this is a huge movie. Daniel Craig's last go around as James Bond.
Well, I mean,
they don't want anything affecting the box office.
And outside of the United States, one of the biggest
is China.
Right, box office is China. So push it back, huh?
Pushing it back to November.
Okay. I can't wait to. It's Daniel Craig still, right?
Daniel Craig.
Oh, baby.
It's going to be awesome. The trailers look unbelievable.
What's the name of it?
No Time to Die.
Are they now just taking the words from every other previous
the song
Bond
is
movies?
Amazing already too.
Is that what they're doing?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. It's amazing.
So I'm sure it is. But are they taking words from every previous Bond movie now, just slicing it up, putting it on a table, and just rearranging the paper?
They ran out of. I mean, come on, think about how many
Minority
there
Report.
are.
They're just like moving.
And they're like
around.
licensed to time. No, that doesn't work.
No. No Time to
Of you
Die.
to
Yeah, right.
Die.
Right.
You to-
Live and kill time. No, that doesn't work. Octa time to kill.
Dr. Time. Nope.
No,
No, that doesn't work.
That would be a bad guy. Good bad guy name.
All right, let's take a break. America's sweetheart, Pat McAfee, is going to be coming up next right here on the Rich Eisen Show on this radio station and also on YouTube. He's going to welcome us to YouTube. We're a couple days old on YouTube. Let's
go.
Pat McAfee is next live on this show and youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Hey, everybody, the Honda Pilot. I know my buddy William here in town got the Honda Pilot instead of the Odyssey because he thought he couldn't give up and get a minivan. And I'm like, what does that mean about me that I love my Honda Odyssey? I give up? Do I give up? Is that what I'm doing? We're fine. William and I are tight. But he does love his Pilot. You can sit as many as 8 in this baby. Sit as many as 8. And then the cargo space, it's more than capable. It's huge. The versatility of this car being able to get 8 people in and all the cargo. And if you don't have 8 people in, presumably, and you want to go on mud, you want to go in snow, you want to go and tailgate, you want to go anywhere, an adventure or a family trip, the Pilot is the perfect car. And then Honda Sensing, suite of safety and driver assistive technologies can help keep you in the game. Nice and safe. So go to your local Honda dealer and tell them about the Honda Pilot 2020 and that the Rich Eisen Show sent you. Pat McAfee when we come back. What did somebody say?
Somebody on the chat, Scrap Iron, said, I've taken my vitamins and I'm ready for the Pat McAfee experience.
So does that mean vitamin C or D? What do we mean?
You know, multivitamin, fish oils. I mean,
Fish oil.
Everything's in omega-3s. Those are all important. Those are all important.
All right, what are people saying about my sweater now?
There are a lot of people saying it's awesome.
I like
Rich.
It. All right.
You're getting positive.
All right.
People want Tom Brady in Dallas.
All right. Is McAfee on the horn right now already?
Yeah. No, not yet. It's calling it. No,
he's not.
I'll put him in once we get him.
Okay. All right.
People are overwhelmingly loving your sweater, by the way. It was just that one person that made the joke. But other than that, your sweater's a hit.
All right. Like it. Yeah, people are talking about Roman vitamins. What does that mean?
I think the conversation got stared into a weird place.
I know what this means. I get it. Is that Pat on the phone line right now? Or that is not?
He's calling in right now.
He's got
A lot of excitement for Pat on the chat right now, though.
Because Pat is America's sweetheart.
Yes, indeed. People are ready.
All right.
Yeah, nobody wants Brady and Dallas. Somebody
I
just
keep
said.
seeing the phone line light up, and then it goes
It
away.
just drops away.
Well, Pat's in that cave inside the services over there.
Okay. Should I say we're calling from a 310 number? Is that what I'm doing?
Brockman.
Yo.
Hold
Do you
on a
remember
second.
when Pat was in Miami and he was speaking about vitamin? Do you remember what vitamin he was talking about?
Oh, my God.
Well, yeah.
Let's not go in this direction.
There's a vitamin H. There's a C in there. Maybe a T. I'm not sure.
Yeah, somebody's suggesting I go sleeveless like Pat. I don't think we'll do that.
Sleeveless. By the way, Pat's guns were on display when he did the halftime.
I know, right?
Pregame and halftime because he was hanging out with the Red Panda.
Oh, yeah, the girl who kicks the bowls
Yeah,
on,
kicks
on
the
the
bowls on top of her head
All right.
while riding a unicycle on a ladder or whatever.
I've seen her so many times at Clippers games.
Yes, so many times.
And I've only seen her drop a ball once.
Okay. Is Pat,
Pat
on
is
right now?
on. I'll
Is Pat
bring
on
him in.
right now?
There
Bring
we
him
go.
in.
All right, here we go.
All right,
All right,
we're
we're good.
Pat, you there?
How's it going, man? I heard you had a nice little conversation about vitamins there about a minute ago.
You know what? I'm concerned about my iron intake. So right now we're on YouTube, Pat. You and I are on YouTube on my show for the first time during a radio break.
I want to let you know my entire office is watching you on the television via an AirPlay model, which is in 2020. That happens, Rich. The YouTube, we're on the television. You look damn good. Brock, you've got a couple things wrong. I'm from Pittsburgh, not West Virginia.
Sorry, my fault. I know you went to West Virginia. I didn't know if you were homegrown.
Tim McAfee was not happy about that. You can question, him duct taping me to a fence and all that stuff, but he's from Pittsburgh.
Pat, how do you like your headshot that we've chosen? Can you take a look at it? I know we're on a delay, but we just put up your headshot. We think it's it's nice and it's kind of safe.
Well, hold on.
Can you see it?
We're still behind.
Okay.
Still behind.
It's almost there. We're going to leave it up there. This is what we call content in the 21st century. What do you
You're
think?
damn right. I mean, this is science.
We've got like a white button-down shirt.
Yeah.
You got to
Sharp. Hair looks good.
What do you think, Pat? Is it up there yet?
It just popped up. Yeah, I took that at when ESPN, they hired me a day before the college football seminar down in Charlotte to do those Thursday night games.
Mm-hmm.
And down at that seminar, they do all the photos of all the booths for Thursday Night Football. I had to take a photo. And, boy, the outfit choice was not great, but the hair was flowing and the spray tan looked average.
All right, we're coming back on the radio in a second. That's McAfee. All right, welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show here on this radio station, as well as youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. A man who's been telling me, you got to put your show on YouTube. Why are you on YouTube? You got to do it on YouTube, just like the Pat McAfee Show that's live every single day, Friday from 10 to noon Eastern Time, and then his podcast, the Pat McAfee Show 2.0. Pat McAfee back here on the show. Here on YouTube. Look at us, Pat. Look at us chatting in many different ways now. Look at us.
Hey, it's great to be in the future here, isn't it? I mean, you have been a guy that has set the tone in this industry for a long time, and now you are setting the tone for the next generation of broadcasters who want to create their own shows, put it on YouTube, not worry about gatekeepers telling you what's good and what isn't good. I love what you're doing, and I'm excited to continue to watch you every single day.
Brother, you're the best. I enjoyed being on your show the other day where me and you and Ryan Leaf on the couch. And, how about Leaf telling that story about what did he say that somebody reached out to him about the Chargers? Didn't he say that somebody reached out to him about, or his dad, about the Chargers before they drafted somebody?
He said Archie Manning.
Right.
Archie Manning reached out to his dad about how did the Chargers organization treat your boy. And I think Ryan Leaf, he has owned everything that he has done wrong in his life, especially with the Chargers. He's owned it. And I think his dad thought there wasn't enough support potentially at the time from the Chargers organization. And I think he told that to Archie. And then when he spilled that information to us, we were both like, wait a minute, that might be a pretty large part of Eli not wanting to be a Charger fan.
We looked at each other. We shot this. Look, Chris, this was amazing. Ryan Leaf telling the story that when Eli was going through whether or not to be drafted by the Chargers, Archie Manning called his dad, Ryan Leaf's dad, to kick the tires on
and said, hey, how's San Diego?
Yeah, how did San Diego treat your son?
Wow.
And lo and behold, Eli's a Giant.
And that was a big deal. That was before the social media. If that was to happen now, right, which people were alluding to potentially happening, with social media, that would be the biggest thing on earth. I mean, it was covered, obviously, but that conversation with Ryan Leaf's dad from Archie could have been a little bit of a part of that. And that would be a massive little piece to the link if that was to happen in today's world.
Pat McAfee here on The Rich Eisen Show, also on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Pat welcoming us to the YouTube world as his show is on every single day. You check out his channel right here on YouTube as well as any of the radio stations that might be near you. Hey, did you hear the news out of New York, the New York Post reporting that ESPN's making a play for Peyton Manning to join Al Michaels in the booth? Did you hear about that one?
We just retweeted Andrew Marchand from the Post. He tweeted this morning a little teaser that he had big news coming this afternoon in a column, and then in a series of tweets he kind of unloaded that information. And you got to think, Mike Tirico is still on the NBC Sports roster. My boys and I were talking about it. That is a potential move that would be insane, but also Al Michaels and Peyton Manning in a booth together would be something I would want to listen to and watch on a regular basis. And if you move Tirico up with Collinsworth, it seems like a win-win, but boy, that is some high-level conversations that have to happen between networks to kind of do that exchange. There. I would assume the money, especially when you see what Tony Romo's making, I mean, that's a big money move, I'd assume. And I love Al Michaels. I hope he calls games forever. And hearing him with Manning would be awesome.
Do you think Peyton wants to do it, right, but only with the right person, essentially?
I would assume, and obviously Peyton and I are not in constant contact. We are not. But I would assume that they might have asked Peyton, who are some people you wouldn't mind working with or people that you revere, and he probably said, I like Al Michaels. And I don't even know if Peyton was saying that would be the only person he worked with, but I'm assuming he said it.
Right.
So now ESPN's like, we've tried Peyton before. He said no. People say it's because he doesn't want to criticize Eli and stuff like that. That's out the window now. Yeah. What if we get a guy that he likes, get him in there? And I think the world would be excited to hear Peyton every single Monday night.
Pat McAfee here on The Rich Eisen Show. So supposedly the collective bargaining agreement has been hashed out between the lawyers, the final language of the NFL and the NFLPA, and have sent it on to the players writ large, the whole group of players in the NFL. You were in the league the last time this went around. How will a 430-page document land in the inbox of players? What do you got for me on how's that gonna hit, Pat?
I was talking to Kyle Rudolph this morning on my show, and I obviously asked him if he pushed off against the Saints. Had to talk about
and
that.
What did he say? What did he say? First, let's take one at a time here. What did he say to that?
He said, I did not push off at all. My arm was at a full, basically at stiff, so there was no push off at all. He just was keeping him away and trying to feel where he was at. He didn't push him at all. I was like, well, it kind of looks very similar to what happened with George Kittle in the Super Bowl, and that was called it was. And he was like, nope, that's not on me. They reviewed it and everything. So Kyle went to bat for his move and just saying that he didn't push off anything, which you have to respect. Great catch in the playoffs, win again.
Look, Pat, if somebody's chest is going to get in the way of his hand, and, it's not his fault, right?
Well, how are you supposed to catch whenever somebody's covering you?
Please. I understand.
You got to get them off of you.
Right.
It just makes sense. But Kyle Rudolph, obviously, great personality, good speaker, and also Notre Dame educated, right?
Okay, yes.
So this is a guy who, pretty difficult school from what I've been told. I was never accepted to Notre Dame, but from what I've heard, it's a little bit difficult in the academic world. And I told him, I said, what the hell are you going to do with 450 pages, or whatever it is, 430 pages? Like, are you going to read that? He was like, well, I'm going to dive into it today. I'm like, if I was in the league right now, there is zero chance that I would read that, but I should. That is something that every player should read, but there's no way it's going to happen. And when that means is somebody's going to place a vote, and then somebody's going to ask them why, they're going to say no, and it's going to cause this entire conversation. But they're giving them a week, and I just don't see how anybody's going to get that done, let alone if that was a great story or something like that. 430 pages, that's more pages than I've ever read in my life. I just don't know how that's going to happen, but it's a big decision.
We were talking earlier, like, when was the last time any of us read something that was 430 pages long, let alone that there's fine print and formulas and stuff like that? So how is this going to go down, do you think? What do you think, Pat? You got an idea here?
Well, and there's also the legalities talk and a lot and percentages and revenue sharing. And, I mean, it's absolute insanity. So what's going to happen is you're going to get guys that meet in groups. Maybe they take turns, each read a part and kind of summarize it, or you're going to get guys that listen to other people. And it's going to be a very interesting thing because there are two very different views on this thing in the NFL. I had Nate Solder on my show the other day, offensive tackle now for the Giants, formerly of the Patriots.
He likes it. He likes it, right?
He loves it.
Right.
He likes. He said obviously there's some drawbacks because in negotiations that happens, but he likes it. And then you hear the likes of Marquise Pouncey, who he does not like it. I mean, it's just it is very interesting to see how this all plays out, and they got a week to vote on it. And I think if you're a fan and if you're somebody that covers it, it's like, all right, a lot's about to happen here in our football world. Excited to see how it, because if it goes to 17 games, Rich, not only do we get more football, we get more playoffs, but what happens with all the records pre the 17 games? I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be unfolded here.
Pat McAfee right here on the Rich Eisen Show. How did the news that Dion was talking about on Sunday on NFL Network during our Combine coverage that it's not news, but I mean, it's now becoming news, just the idea that Brady might wind up a 49er. How'd that one hit you?
Oh, that's awesome. Isn't it? Isn't that just awesome? Like, that's a real conversation that's happening right now in 2020.
Right.
We are potentially thinking about the greatest quarterback of all time going to his hometown team for 2 to 3 years, and that hometown team trading back to the genius that is Bill Belichick, his project, his baby, the guy that he allegedly wanted all along. I mean, it feels like a win-win for both sides, but John Lynch just said last week that he's committed to Jimmy G, is nowhere near his ceiling and all that, and I understand in sports there's a lot of lying about stuff, but man, I think the 49ers probably win a Super Bowl next year if they get Tom Brady, and the Patriots, especially if Antonio Brown's people aren't lying about Tom Brady and Antonio Brown being in contact with each other and bringing him along, because if you lose Emmanuel Sanders, you get Antonio Brown in there. And the Patriots, Josh McDaniels gets a guy back in his scheme that already knows it. You get a guy who's already a proven winner, and the Patriots are going to be good for another 20 years. I mean, it seems like that could potentially happen, but in the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of smoke going on.
So let's just say it does. This is real, right? And the agent represents both Brady and Garoppolo, Don Yee. Do you, as the client, just come straight through the front door and say this is going to be a tough one for you, or you just say it and just say make it happen? How do you do that? If you're Tom Brady, you call up the agent.
If you're Tom Brady or if you're Jimmy G?
No, if you're the Tom Brady and you're like, hey, I know we went down this road before, but I want to do it again. But this time I want his job. Not get him out of there. Could you? I mean, seriously, how do you lay that one out to your representative? Right? I mean, that just.
All right. So, Mr. Yee, this is what I'm thinking. You know how there was all that conversation about me getting shipped out of town and Jimmy G getting a starting job and all that stuff, and we agreed to send him to San Francisco instead of me. Mm-hmm. Well, now I want to do the same exact thing, but send his ass to New England, and I'll go over to that conversation. Tom Brady right now, though.
Right.
I think he's about fed up with the amount of talk about it, but he also he fans the flame on a regular occasion, and it's just like there's nonstop conversation about this until wherever he goes, and then the conversation is going to be like, well, how did we get here? What happened to this room? It's just this is so awesome for the NFL. I hope it happens every single offseason.
That's right, no doubt. A few minutes left with Pat McAfee here on the Rich Eisen Show. When I saw you, and I was on your show last Friday in Indianapolis, you said you had just accepted an invitation from the New Orleans Pelicans to go to New Orleans and introduce the team against the Los Angeles Lakers in front of everybody in the Smoothie King. You crushed it, Pat. You went out and you absolutely crushed it. For my viewing audience here on YouTube and listening audience, Can you walk us through how that started and the approach you took to introducing the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson, please?
Well, first of all, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You were there, I think, for the groundwork of that whole thing
Yes,
about
sir.
to come to fruition. You kind of got to see how this, and I don't want to call it an office, but this area that we spend our time in every single day kind of works. An idea gets thrown out, and then we kind of we're like, all right, should we do this? Should go do this? Let's go try to kill it. Let's make a vlog about it and see how it goes. So I was happy you were there because obviously you're a legend in the building, and you were the one that told me maybe do a long Zion instead of a long Williamson.
Right.
And you know what? If you watched, by the way, I tried to hang that Zion as long as I possibly could. I've taken a lot of vitamins, but I tried my best to hang that thing. So I appreciate you for that.
Well, you know what? Because, again, I knew that you were going to introduce Zion. That's the whole reason why you were going, is you had a problem with the way that the Pelicans were doing it. And then they're essentially said, if you don't like the way it's done, how about you go to Whirl, right? And then you went down and did it. That's essentially how it went down?
Yeah, the opening night of Zion, it was a Wednesday night on ESPN at 10 o'clock. I mean, everybody was looking forward to watching the game, and everybody was watching strictly for Zion. And then they cut back to his intro, his first time getting introduced as a starter in the NBA, and I saw that they introduced him second. And I was like, second? Like, this dude is the future. This dude is the guy, and we're introducing him second. Like, how do you even ask another player to go after that? Like, that's a very interesting. So I sent out a tweet about that. Then, bang, they responded. They said, do you think you can do better? I was like, absolutely, let's do this. And by the way, they were so hospitable, so nice. The fact that they gave me that opportunity is just ridiculously nice from the Pelicans organization. But I still had to introduce Zion second, and that was
Did you really? I mean, that's right. Okay, so what? So you couldn't reconfigure the order, the manner in which you wanted? Like,
you should have seen when I walked in there for rehearsal because they wanted to get there was a lot of people, by the way, in that Pelicans organization who were not sold on me doing these introductions. The social media guy was the guy basically pushing for this, I think. His name is Alex. He's a good dude. He was pushing hard for it. So they wanted me to do a rehearsal, and they hand me the notes, the list, the order, the school, the number, everything. And I see Zion second on there, and I'm like, yes, I'm not introducing him second, right? And they're like, yeah, you kind of have to with the way our videos are set up and everything. I'm like, well, that's why I'm here, though, because they're like, yeah, you have to. We don't want to put too much on him. He's 19 years. They, made me feel bad about it. And I was like, okay, hey, I'll do whatever the hell you want me to do. Just let me go ahead and go out here and yell a little bit. So I had to go second, but we did have quite a give and take about it, and I lost the battle. Bad.
Yeah. Okay. So, Who did go after Zion? That was the whole point of you going down there, was to do him last, because that's your point, is that he's Zion Williamson. He's the last one to go, right? Come on.
Yeah. So Derek Favors, Mr. Favors went third directly after Zion, and I completely I didn't know him that well, so it wasn't my best intro, but then Lonzo Ball was fourth.
Right.
And,
I loved your intro for him. Your intro for him was laugh out loud hilarious.
Thank you. If I was to set it up, I would have went Lonzo Ball first.
Right.
Then hit a couple in the middle, Drew Holiday, then Zion Williamson.
Right.
But the team was so cool about it, and I was very lucky to be a part of it. But, boy, the Internet enjoyed it. And it seems as if I didn't burn any bridges, which is good news.
Certainly, since as you are reporting here on the Rich Eisen Show, you are not the consensus choice of the Pelicans organization. And you just went there.
They were not all in.
See, I told Pat when I was there and he's doing this, I'm like, you've got to, how are you going to do it with Zion? Are you going to drag out the Zion or the Williamson? No, it's got to be Zion. Let that thing go.
Totally.
It was good. Ready to rumble.
By the way, I would have never done that. I would have gone.
Yeah.
I would have gone heavy on the Williamson instead of the Zion. And really, he's a guy that likes Tiger.
One-name athlete.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Only need one name. So what you said was very accurate. I have to go hard on that first name.
That's the one, man.
Because it's a great name.
It's next level. I just got to be honest with you. I thought it was next level suggestion for you, but that was so funny. It was
additive.
It was. As you are, sir. Hey, man, I love doing your show. Love seeing your operation. It's first rate, man. It's first rate. You and everybody there should be very, very, very happy and proud of what you're building over there in Indianapolis, pal.
Well, we appreciate that. You know, we got a lot of guys over here that work hard. Most of these guys quit their jobs whenever I quit mine as well. So,
right.
I mean, we've invested a lot. We're lucky to do it. We enjoy the hell out of it. And I am so happy for you and your boys over there and your group over there.
Thanks, pal.
To make this transition to the YouTube. You're going to start owning it, man. You're going to do very well, and it's awesome to watch you.
All right, Patrick. You take care of yourself.
I will say, though, none of my guys would get the birthplace of the guest wrong because we do a lot of research. So Brock's going to have to pick it up. I mean, that's
honestly, Pat, if you could guess where I'm born, I mean, whatever you want, name it.
No, but he's not. But he would say he would have it researched properly if it was his job for the guest. I think he is. I think he is appropriately busting your stones right now.
Wow,
this is an appropriate stone.
I'm just saying, my guys would be running sprints out on the basketball court if that was to happen. You know, a Bob Knight type operation.
Well, I mean, it is Indiana, right? I mean, you're in the state of Indiana, so.
I appreciate you guys for having me on, man.
Right back at you, Pat. You're the best. We'll chat soon. That's you got it. That's Pat McAfee. His show live every single day. Weekday, 10 to noon Eastern time, and then check out his pod. It's very impressive.
Pat McAfee from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, by way of West Virginia, and then Indianapolis, Indiana.
Of course.
Right there on the Rich Eisen show. That would be amazing to just, how about, it must be an old school head coach saying, we are not introducing the rookie last. Don't you think? There's got to be some sort of conscious decision being made that we can't, despite his clear,
he's a superstar already.
Additive.
I do understand not wanting to put too much pressure on the kid. He is 19 years old. He was in high school 2 years ago.
Right. It just sounds like there's an old school dude.
Yeah, I get it.
In Alvin Gentry, who, can relate to a 19-year-old clearly and coach him up.
Sure.
But like, we are not going to, or somebody saying we are not going to introduce the kid last. And Pat made a point, like, how do you just, he's not a throw-in, I mean, honestly, the first player is going to get some attention, right?
Right.
And then if you are introducing 5 people, you put a big one up top, you put a big one at the last, right?
That's how
Michael
it goes.
Jordan wasn't introduced second.
He was not. That was John Paxson, probably.
I don't know. Should we look that up? I'm sure that's all in there. There's got to be some sort of introduction from back in the day. Let's take a break. Let's use our...
It was either Paxson or B.J. Armstrong.
Let's take a break because Jordan was last, correct?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
And I would imagine Pippen might have been first or fourth. Horace Grant would have been in there, right? Cartwright was the guy in the middle.
The man in the middle.
Right. So Cartwright would have to have been 4. Could Cartwright have been 4 just for the Seinfeld reference?
Cartwright?
4. Oh. It probably predates that episode.
Well,
could be right around then.
Could be close.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll hit that next on the Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH. And we got some 2 cool guests coming in tomorrow. By the way, get ready for a little bit of Bull Durham talk tomorrow right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Don't go anywhere. We're back with more in a moment. So here's a fun video that we go, oh, hey, Don, what's up? Here's from back in the day, Anthony Anderson being here on our show. That was a total blast. Remember, I forget what he was here to promote, but he told a great Prince story. Oh, he was here to promote Blackish, of course. I don't know. I can't keep up with him. He's doing a million different things.
He's everywhere.
Right? So here was Anthony Anderson. Let's see what he's exactly talking about here. Oh, yeah, the Prince story. This is amazing.
Thank you.
That is a remarkable television achievement for any show.
I know you're busy. Did you see the episode, or did you at least see my pictures in my outfit?
I saw that you did some recreations of some classic videos.
Yes.
Including Prince.
Well, it was a half-hour-long homage to Prince. Yeah, we did 4 to 5 Prince songs and remade 4 or 5 of his videos shot by shot with each individual family member.
Okay, and how do you think you pulled it off, Anthony?
I think we pulled it off well. You know,
No, you personally.
I don't mind wearing a midriff. You know, I don't mind wearing a silk midriff, man. I look like a human domino. But you know, I recreated the Kiss video, so I had from the bottom of my nipples to the bottom of my navel exposed. Yeah, Prince wore a waist chain. Mine was a belly chain. I had to get a jump rope to make go around, but it looked good.
Now you met Prince, correct?
Yeah,
What's the story behind that?
I can't remember how we met initially, but after our first encounter, he made sure that I was at every house party that he had in Los Angeles. And if he knew that I was in town, like in New York, he made sure that I was at every show he performed at Madison Square Garden. When he was in Vegas, he made sure that, because he knows who comes to his show.
He does?
Yeah, he does. Oh, he knows, and especially if he knows you. And I would get a call from his office, from one of his assistants, and was like, Anthony, Prince is closing his show in Vegas next week, and he noticed that you haven't been. He wants to invite you. And I would come to the shows, and I would come, and he would invite me on stage, man, and we would have a great time. I'll never forget, we were at Madison Square Garden. Security came to my seat at the end of the show, or towards the end of the show, and said, Prince wants you to come on stage. I was like, okay. He wants you to come on stage now. All right, so I'll go on stage. It's me, Whoopi Goldberg, Cornel West, Tavis Smiley, a bunch of other people on stage, and we went to this after-hour spot after the concert, a place called Village Underground in the Village.
Sure, that's famous.
Yeah, and so, because Prince likes to jam afterwards. Well, Prince just went to go listen to the musicians. And so it's Prince, his assistant, myself. And I see Prince lean over to his assistant. And then all of a sudden, the assistant leans over to me and says, I don't know why I do this voice, but it's like, Prince wants you to come back and have pasta and pizza. I was like... Oh, okay. And then Prince got up and left, and she got up and left. I don't know why her voice is so deep, because it was a woman. She got up and she left.
Because you were summoned.
Yes.
You were summoned by royalty.
And I show up at the Ritz-Carlton. There's a doorman there with a key, and he was like, Ms. Anderson, Prince is on floor 42, and the room number is 4206. I was like, okay. Gave me my key, put me in this private elevator. I went up. Put the key in the door opened. I had my wife with me. We walked in. I was like, oh. And there was, an array of people in the living room. And I went back to find Prince, and he was back there holding court with Tavis Smiley and Cornel West. And he looked up and was like, smiled and gave me the peace sign. And I went back in, and we had pasta and pizza at 4:00 in the morning.
Wow. How did Prince like his pizza? This is very important. The toppings is a window into one's soul.
First off, there was no meat on the pizza. And I didn't see Prince eat any pizza. We would go to his house, man, for the house parties. I want to say Prince was a vegan. And so he had his chef prepare, you'll be at the house, and it'd be Stevie Wonder playing the piano, Malcolm Jamal Warner on bass, Rochelle Farrell singing lead, Harry Connick Jr. playing bongos. No, that was Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey. I'm sorry. I get them confused sometimes. But it was just amazing, man. And then it's like 5:00 in the morning, his chef is serving you breakfast. You're like, why am I at Prince's house at 5:00 in the morning, man? It was truly an amazing relationship. That not only myself, but other people had with him.
I'm just glad that it was pizza and pasta. It wasn't like a game of telephone, like Prince asked you to do something and it came back pizza and pasta through his assistant.
Anthony, Prince wants you to come back to the hotel and have pasta and pizza. That's how it came to me.
Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Just enjoying our
the comments, man.
The comments. I mean,
amazing.
It's a little bit fun because they're immediate, and then other times,
Sure.
Again, this is on our YouTube.
This poor guy, Matthew Pepe, this new show setup has caused me to now accomplish even less at work.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, it's good and bad.
We just now we just. Well, I mean, his job is safe because if his boss heard that, then his boss is also watching YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we enjoy doing this show. We've done it for 5+ years. We're here. We're going to keep doing it here, and we are in talks. Let's put it that way to fire hose this out a little bit more, which we're excited about. Tom Curran, Brian Windhorst, and Pat McAfee here on the Rich Eisen Show today. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Our final poll results brought to you by Capital One, which is reimagined banking by offering savings and checking accounts with no fees or minimums, one of the nation's best savings rates. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Christopher, what do you have over there?
Yeah, start your team with Luka or Zion. 74%, guys, picking Luka.
Would you do the same thing?
I think so. Just because of the three-point shooting and the way the game is played right now.
Okay. On to Morrow's show. The actor and director, respectively, of Oscilloscope's VHS in theaters on demand right now. Together in studio, Jack Henry Robbins and Tim Robbins.
Oh, baby.
So,
oh, baby.
I don't know if we definitely don't have a camera pointed in that direction, but you can put our Instagram live feed on it. You see that hat with the D up there?
Yeah, buddy.
I have had it there for quite some time. I bought it at Bodega. Our buddy Jay Gordon was selling it.
Go.
That is a Durham Bull hat. It's been in studio for a while now, and we've been waiting for people to sign it who have been in the film Bull Durham. Costner's been here a couple times. I got it after the last time Costner was here. Ron Shelton's been here a couple times. We're going to have Tim Robbins' signature on this bad boy. We're going to start this thing out. Do we have him put his favorite line on here in the same way that we have our Deadwood hat filled up with people's favorite curse words?
A lot of great curse words in Bull Durham.
So there's the Durham Bull hat. We're going to start.
Get the boy.
It looks like, from afar, it looks like the old Denver Broncos,
Broncos.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just had McAfee on. We were talking about how he had an issue with the ordering of the way that the Pelicans were introducing Zion Williamson. They got him right there in the middle of the pack. He should be first or last, and they have him second. We looked up in the commercial break. What did we look up? The 97 Bulls, right? Did you write down the order of it?
TJ's got it.
TJ has it right here. It's on a card. Okay.
So we got 97 and 91.
All right. The 91 Bulls. Horace Grant was first up. Ooh, nice. Then Scottie Pippen.
Clemson.
Bill Cartwright. We said he'd be there in the middle.
Yep.
Jim Paxson. And then Jordan.
John Paxson.
What did I say? Jim Paxson? Yeah. John Paxson, right?
They're brothers.
And then Jordan.
Yeah, Mike was always last.
Yeah.
Then 97, Pippen went first.
Pippen was first.
So in 91, how young was Scottie in 91?
Stand by.
Was that at the beginning of his tenure, 91? Or had already been there for a couple
He was late
years?
80s. He'd been there for a couple years.
So Pippen went up first. Then Rodman, second. Then Luke Longley, everybody. You can already hear, and now.
Great intro.
Ron Harper was introduced fourth. And then from North Carolina, you can
6'6".
The song with that intro. Oh, amazing.
Jordan.
Great.
But again,
Alan
so when you're an
Parsons,
announcer, you got to figure out how to spice it up a little bit. You got to take a word that you're not thinking of nailing. Like, for instance, whoever did the announcing right there went from North Carolina. Like, who would have thought
Ray Clay.
Who would have thought to lay into Carolina, right?
Right.
That's why I told him Pat, listen, when you got Zion Williamson, how are you going to do it? Are you going to drag out the Williamson? I would suggest you drag out the Zion.
Right.
Like Zion Williamson. Like, you go up and down. Just my 2 cents.
Did you see that video yesterday of Zion signing autographs on basketballs?
No.
He's a lefty, obviously.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Signs his last name first so he doesn't smudge coming through.
That's brilliant.
Next level.
That's brilliant.
Next level. When did he learn that one? By his sophomore year of high school? He learned that, with my left hand, I don't want to smudge.
I gotta imagine.
I don't want to smudge the Zion.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I'll do is I'll do the Williamson first, and then if I run the risk, I'll smudge the I that I'm dotting of Williamson.
Right.
That's the only casualty with the left-hand smear.
It was clean.
Okay, very good. That'll wrap it up for this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. You can catch anything that you missed on our YouTube page, where we'll be live streaming tomorrow from 12 to 3 Eastern at youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Thanks to Tom Curran, Brian Windhorst, and Pat McAfee, and you for taking in this Thursday program. We'll see you Friday.
What does do a 180?